And hello everyone, we are online. How's everyone? Um, First of all, I want to wish everyone a very happy new year. I didn't do it in person. I didn't do any streams. I didn't participate in any streams over that period, over that day. Yeah, so we are in 2017, the new current year. And it's already starting off as a bad year for actors. Um, if anyone remembers the show MASH from the 70s about the Mobile Army Surgical Hospital 40, shit, I can't remember the numbers. But never mind. William Christopher, the actor that played Father Francis Mulcahy, passed away on the 1st of this month. So he was the first. He could be called the first actor to die in 2000. Well, in the current year, and I missed him because I really liked that show, and it was a really good one. I'm expecting guests. The ones I had lined up, I won't mention them. I want to make it a surprise. Haven't shown up yet. I've sent them the invites. I've sent them the links, and we'll see if they appear. If they don't appear, I'll just carry on, and then I'll invite some people. They don't appear. In fact, in about 15 minutes, while I do my sort of practice monologue, because I have to do a practice monologue. I have to practice myself because I want to do a new type of format. I want to actually do videos, and I have to practice the way I deliver stuff. So if you guys will bear with me, I'll try and make it as interesting as possible while I discuss current affairs and current shit that's happened. So I already mentioned the MASH, the first celebrity death. But before I go on to anything, I'll have to sort of address Carrie Fisher, her mum, and her mum, Debbie Reynolds, and just say one thing. Right, one of our former prime ministers and former presidents more or less became ill, or he fell into a coma more or less when Carrie Fisher also was admitted to hospital, had that incident with her heart. Let's be kind and say it that way. Now, he was admitted to a hospital in Lisbon. His name is Mario Soares. He was a Portuguese exile, political exile, because he founded the Socialist Party of Portugal. So he was exiled from the dictatorship which we had here in Portugal until 1974. Now, I'm not saying that Portuguese hospitals are good, but he's still alive. Admittedly, yes, he's in a deep coma. But shit, what can you say? He's still alive. Now, I don't want to speculate, but if Carrie Fisher or or Debbie Reynolds were transferred to the same hospital, just throwing out the possibility there, and I don't want to sort of, it's a possibility, just asking questions and so on. Yes, Warped. I remember that song from the MASH movie, King Vegeta and Gaius Julius Caesar. I love that movie. I have it. I actually have I bought the CD. I have it, the CD. It's tucked away in my collection. And I remember that song, and I love that show. Father Mulcahy on that movie was played by can't remember. Rene Auberjonois. I can't remember his second name. He's got a French name, Auberjonois or something. I have a lot of trivia here. The only person that actually played a character that went on to the series was Radar O'Reilly. He was the same one. Can't remember his name at the moment. When I get a bit more drunk, it'll probably come to me. So, yeah, okay, let's start off. I had a few plans. Rod Stewart, he didn't die this year yet. No, he's still alive, I think. Carlos. But let's start off with this interesting article. I'll share, of course. Where is it? The share screen share. And we go this one, partilhar in Portuguese, and present to everyone. It should be coming up on the board in a few seconds. Now, this this journalist, her name is Night Etachfini. She seems to come from CO, should be Colorado and New York City, possibly. I can't remember the actual. Maybe it's Colorado and New York City. She wrote this article in August for Vice magazine that she interviewed the first female hijacker in history, and I hope to have had someone who directly addressed this article, but he's probably busy at the moment. It's okay. I'm fine with that. Not everyone has the time lot that I have. I'm a fucking lazy cunt and all that shit. But anyway, let's sort of go on to it briefly. This person, Layla Khaled, in 1969. She was 25 years. She boarded the TWA Flight 870, commandeered the plane on behalf of the Popular Front of the Liberation of Palestine. No, not the not the Splinters, if anyone can see the Monty Python reference, Life of Brian, but the actual Popular Front of the Liberation of Palestine, not the front. The Liberation of Palestine Popular Front. Yeah, see the joke. You guys hearing me well? So in the chat, I can't really talk louder, but I could boost my microphone if you guys can't hear me too well. I know that there's a delay before I go on to this. Thank you, my friend. I can't remember. I know how to say thank you in Greek. Just doesn't come out. Just can't come out. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Anyway, and she basically hijacked that plane. Where did I can't remember? It was what? I was what, 2 years old. So I'm old. Yes. She hijacked that. She, among others, hijacked the plane. I think they took it to, if I'm not mistaken, maybe Lebanon. If I'm not, let's see what it says. Yeah, no, that tells her where she was born. The Khaled's family left Palestine, headed to Daya, south of Beirut, as thousands of Palestinian refugees. Look at the virtue signaling here. She stayed in a camp of Sabra, Shtila, etc., etc. Her description, making a nice story for her. I'm not going to fucking make her way. Right, the plane was going from Rome to Tel Aviv. She boarded the plane. She had a hand grenade and a pistol. Once in the air, she revealed the two things. She went into the cockpit, and the plane landed. I think it landed in Lebanon, because I think Chuck Norris made a film about that, if you guys remember. Oh, okay. Yes, Warped. If you want to blow up stuff, no worries. And she's what, 70 something at the moment? Must be really proud. And so basically the gist of this story is that Vice is pushing her as a an icon, a feminist icon, because she fucking killed people. And yeah, what the fuck? If killing people now becomes a feminist icon, yes, we should really all. Yes, Delta Force. Thank you, guys. That's the one I was trying to think about, and that's basically from this story, if I'm not mistaken. Well, at least inspired by it. What can we take about this article? The Vice and the feminists are trying to make her an icon. I don't see why she's an icon. Normally, in my limited moral compass, I should say. What I'll keep saying bearing, because I saw his a video of him today. Sorry about that. She became Vice wants her to become an icon because she's a woman and what? She kills people. Yes, yeah, she has courage. That I will admit. Shit, no one who can pull a trigger or whatever she did, and did what she as well did, and basically killing people and hijacking a plane and becoming a terrorist. That if Vice wants to make her an icon, we could also make. Let's see. There was a nice thing here. We can also make Irma Gress. Shit. I'll do a quick Google search because I'm basically. I don't want to show where my sources are coming from because that person has not come on yet. And so Irma Gress was known as the hyena of Auschwitz, and she was the first person to be hanged, the first woman to be hanged for war crimes. So the Irma Gress and what's her name again? Layla Khaled are really nice icons for feminism if they want to go that way, instead of actually working for actual empowering and freeing really oppressed women. Then who am I to agree? But yeah, I guess I've given them one more minute, and then I'll start sending invites to my regular lovable follow friends. So yeah, basically that's what I have to say about these two people. But we could now go on to more pertinent things. How did you guys how was your New Year's passing? Mine was quite good. I didn't go out. Basically stayed at home, watched the movie. My dad hasn't been really that up. Yeah, Vegeta. That was the idea. He is not on yet. I'll send him another. See if he wants to come on again. I'll just bear with me, people. I'm not. You know, guys. You guys know I'm not used to monologuing. I don't have the talent that you got. Most of the people I follow and subscribe to have. But I'm getting better. I think I'm getting better. So I'll see what if you can come on. Continue this conversation about the that evil those evil women who really don't. Okay, I've sent him another reminder. Out. Yeah, I know. I try to plan this more professional. I need to professionalize, get my delivery professionalized, so I can get a bit noticed. Again, I don't mind the followers and subscribers, but what I'm more interested in my channel is to get conversations up. I will seed my if I get enough people who have interesting points of views together. If you've noticed in a lot of my streams, I just shut up and let them talk. My last one was like that. But yeah, okay. Let's get back to New Year's Eve. My New Year's was okay. It was nice. I saw some fireworks on the village across my window, and I didn't get that drunk. I didn't drink. I drank the night before. I was in a stream where I was more drunk. So. Which was okay. Let's see who joined. Oh, hello, Modwayne. How are you, my friend?
Good.
Yeah. How was I? How did I deliver? I think I was okay. I'm getting better.
Yeah, no, you did really well.
Yeah, I'm getting better. I just need to practice to monologue. I'm not shit. This in fact this stream that I do has improved my communication skills for work a lot. Just a quick reference. Juju, do you want to come on, man? Big Bad Juju, do you want to come on? Oh, Mama, I gotta send her. The other cunts aren't coming. I'm gonna send to my dear friends. Fuck them. No, well, they are my friends as well. God, I'm a cunt. Sorry, I'm being too. Goes on. Oh shit! He doesn't have. I don't have the technology. Oh come on, man! I want to have you on. Oh. Anyway, get that shit. You're coming on my stream this year, the current year. So get a cheap headset like I have. Now, where is the nice? It should be. Yes, here you go. Mama, I sent you an invite. Please join me. And as I was saying, this monologuing, this channel that I've started has really helped me with the communicating with people because I'm fucking shy as shit. I might not show it, but I've to start a conversation mainly. God, I sometimes sweat like the Niagara Falls.
Well, you're not doing a bad job.
Yeah. And it helped me because about before Christmas, I had to deliver a sort of a talk on the Neolithic and the Chalcolithic or the Copper Age of the Iberian Peninsula, Europe, and specifically where I live. I only had 2 people assisting, but I didn't sweat. I actually was comfortable talking.
Well, it is a thing that, I mean, the more you do it, the better you get at it.
Exactly, and this little 15-minute monologue which I had, it's a little bit of practice. I know I have a lot of. In fact, I have my script here, which is a fucking page with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines, and that's it. 9 lines, about 25 words, which I write because I don't work with scripts. I have everything in my head, which I read during the day, and then I have some links, of course, like I showed the ones before, the articles. That, of course, I'm scientifically sound, and yeah. Oh, by the way, I just want to say that I had a nice on the chat. I mentioned that Billy Baldwin, he's one of the Baldwin brothers, the family of actors. William, Alec, Stephen, and the one that played the muscle in Serenity. I can never remember his name.
I'm sorry, me neither.
Yeah, but the muscle one, the big muscles. Right. So yeah, and of the 4 brothers, the muscle and Alec seem to be the most balanced, because William is a complete SJW, and I just found out today that Stephen is a born again Christian and a creationist. So,
And he played. Oh, okay. That's always fun.
Yes, it is, and he wished me a happy. William Baldwin, who played a character. Yeah, he's got 4 films coming out. I googled him because I knew he was, but I wanted to see what he was doing, because I wanted to wish him to say, I hope your next movie is okay. But he has 4 movies coming out. Oh God, they're all shit. They're all shit. So that sort of stopped me from saying, I hope your next movie is okay.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, well, fuck him. He's rich.
Yeah, but I mean, it pays the bills, doesn't it? I mean, they often just do movies because they get the part. It's not like they support the movie or anything. It's just their job.
Exactly. I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. But he sort of deleted some tweets, because I was this original tweet. Let's see if I can remember. He deleted it. He said he did. I wrote to him about. Let's see. From my memory, let's see if it's still there. It has something to do with. God, sometimes my memory fails me. Let's see, where is it?
I have to admit, I don't really look. It's
deleted. I can't. Oh, I have a picture. Oh shit! I'm fucking okay. Here we go. This was a tweet that I sent to him. Basically, I said that because of the something, he responded to me. He pays plenty now and will gladly pay to give the less privileged and middle class better access to American dream. I can't remember what was my actual tweet about, but I think I can access it. Technology is fucking awesome. And he responded to me when I said that I earned 1,000 euros a month, and I still help what I can. I think that sort of said to him, "Shit." I should have. I think, yeah. Let's see if I can find. Come on. A bit more. There we go. Here we go. He wrote, I am a Birminghamington grad. He was writing because of responding to Governor Cuomo that something about don't mind if students have skin in their game, but must have college more accessible, affordable, because Bernie Sanders said he wanted free education, and Cuomo went along with it. And I wrote, are you going to contribute to? Oh shit! I'll share it. I'll share my screen so everyone can see. That's the one, I think. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Exactly. That's the one. This was my conversation I had with him. Yeah, everyone can see it now. Let's see if it appears.
Yeah.
He basically said, proud of New York Governor Cuomo. I'm a Binghamton grad. Don't mind if students have skin color in the game, but must have college more accessible, affordable. That is a noble. Yes, I agree with him. That I'm not arguing with that. I'm agreeing with him totally. But my response was, as you can see, are you going to contribute for that, or will the same taxpayers fit the bills as always? Because Sanders said free education, and when that means there's nothing is free in life, because someone has to pay. That's basically my gist. Right? That's a good response to. I agree with him. We should have in the world in Portugal. We actually have reasonable access to education. It's not too expensive. It's even the private colleges and so on. It's okay. Portuguese, we are poor. We're one of the poorest countries in Europe, and we can afford that type of just almost. So that was where I'm going on. And then he came on a little bit later. Where did he respond? He responded to me something which I showed. I'll show the picture of. Where is it? Oh God, you guys are seeing my desktop.
Cool background, by the way.
I love space. Yeah. He responded to me with this tweet. I pay plenty now and will gladly pay more to give the less privileged and middle class better access to the American dream. I agree with him totally in this. Yes, I am with him. This is a noble cause, and he can afford to do that. Yes, that is awesome.
Yeah, but what about the people who can't afford?
That's where I came on later. I responded to him, but which is not showing. Let's see, where am I? Here we go. It may not show here, but yes, I did. I responded. Well, if all of Hollywood did that, I bet there would be more access to the American dream, less rhetoric, more action. Right?
Yeah.
He responded to me that he didn't understand what I was saying, and I answered, it means that rich liberal Hollywood elite like you doing what you posted to me, that means he pays and that, contribute to the American people, the American dream to the poor people. So I was saying, you means that not just you, but get every one of the Hollywood elites to do the same cause which you are nobly doing. Fuck, I recognize his point of view. I totally am on his side. I do the same here in Portugal. I give what I can to like I said, that was my response. I live in a very poor country, Portugal. I still help as much as my €1,000 a month salary allows. My contribution is way more. I was saying I give percentage-wise more than you do. And on my budget, I give from my own pocket, because he wrote that he contributed millions in fundraising to get more people into college. Again, a fucking awesomely noble cause. I don't fault him at all in that. I wasn't faulting him in that. I was actually, which I think I will say later, that I am on his side. But I said on my budget, I give from my own pocket. I have 2 kids, which I pay for their education. I paid for one. The other one's working at the moment. So I still paid for both of them anyway. So I think I do more than most. From my point of view, my €1,000 a month, percentage-wise, I do give more than they do.
They don't want to hear that, though. They don't want to see that if you look at it in a percentage, you do as much, if not more than them. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear how good they are. And look at them. They give millions. Well, I don't have millions. Yeah, but I'm giving millions. Yeah, but I don't have millions to give. You give like 10% of your total income. I give like 10% to my total income. If I give 10% of my income, I will eat less this month.
Yes.
This is not true for you.
Yeah, that was what my point was.
They don't see that.
They don't see that. And when I said that, he deleted most of the tweets, and he said, if I can remember, let's see if he I don't think he deleted that. He deleted it as well. He said he complimented me. Awesome, good. I do the same. Basically said, yes, I love my kids and wife as well. And I responded to him, thank you. I give all to my wife and kids, which is a normal response. Nothing could be thing. And then that's when I said to him, why did you delete some tweets to me? I wasn't trying to guilt trip you, which I wasn't. I work for the same cause in my way. That is all. See?
Yeah, but that's the thing with the Baldwins, though. I mean, one of the Baldwins was actually talking about how great they were because they felt that yeah, we're so progressive, we're so feministic, yada yada, blah blah blah, and then totally ignoring most of his career because
Yes, exactly.
that doesn't pay lip service anymore. It doesn't fit well with the narrative they're trying to sell. And the worst part is, if they really want to help, they do a lot of good things. But the problem is, they want you to see the good things they do because they do them, not because they are good things.
Yes, exactly. Hello, Mama. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Mama. Nice picture, by the way.
Hi.
Now that I have both of you here,
I don't
Happy
know
New
what
Year.
picture is there. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's. I have to go AFK for 1 second. I'll be right back.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah.
Just so everyone in the chat knows, in Portugal, even up to a week after New Year's, if we haven't met all our friends, relatives, friends and relatives, we say "Bom ano," which basically means good year. And then up until we are going to have on the 6th. It's more important in Spain than it is in Portugal. This is a bit slightly off with the topic. Sorry about that, Mara. I'll let you talk after this.
This is your stream, you do you.
Yeah. In Spain, they have a day which is called Kings. It basically is when the Magi gave the presents to baby Jesus and all that. And in Spain, that's when they give them the present. They give people presents, each other. We follow the average. We give presents at Christmas instead. So just saying that.
We do
so
both.
yes. Yeah. So basically, I sort of said that to him, and then let's see, he responded again. Oh, I love this tweet. If everyone can see it here. Fuck, I love the English language. I am Portuguese. I master that shit, even when I'm drunk. Not drunk at the moment. Give me time. I'm working on it. I'm working on a drunk right now, so guys. So be prepared.
Isn't that normal though during a stream?
No, I've actually cut back. Shit, the drunkest I've ever gotten was that a stream which I had with Sargon, Kraut, Habib, Wizard of Course. He was there. I was invited by Habib. Focus break Habib, and I stayed basically quiet, but I knew I was drunk, so I didn't. When I'm drunk, I'm conscious of what I do. I get even more auto-conscious. What's that word? Shit. I get more. Yeah, I know that I'm drunk, so I don't want to make a fucking fool of myself. So I sort of self-conscious. That's the word. I knew it'd come out. Yeah. Oh, how are you? How are you, Anthony? Oh God, I'm Nicholas. How are you, Nicholas? How was your?
I was better a moment ago before I was better.
Yes. Oh God, I really apologize, man. I am very, very sorry. How was your New Year's passing?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Oh, that is awesome. As a Portuguese, we say "bom ano," which means good year to friends and family.
Well, bangarang to you too, man.
Right. Yes.
Right.
I don't have anything to drink today except some William Lawson's, so I'm slowly drinking it now. I'm getting a little bit.
Oh, Lawson.
I was just talking about. I was just talking about my conversation with Billy Baldwin, and I got him to say to wish me a happy New Year's, which is nice for a little. As I told him, I am where is it? I am only a minuscule Portuguese archaeologist.
Who is Billy Baldwin?
Alec Baldwin's brother, William.
Better than the last conversation I had with Baldwin.
Shit. I wasn't expecting that. I honestly wasn't. I was just saying, oh,
what was it like?
God.
Just like a Twitter conversation?
Yeah, it was a Twitter conversation because he was praising Cuomo and Saunders' free planned for free, basic free college education and that. And I said, well, who's going to pay for it? The same people? Or and he said he this is paraphrasing and resuming. He said he pays as well. And I said, so do I. From my point, I earn only €1,000, which I do per month, so I help more percentage-wise than you do. And I sort of guilt-tripped him, which I am a bit proud. So yeah, let's get off this. This is a bit boring now. Let's go on to something more interesting. This, what do you guys reckon? Again, 600 women celebrating New Year's Eve sexually assaulted in Germany.
Well, it did happen this year.
Yeah, again, yeah, it did, yeah.
Because they were the 1st of January. The first news that came out was it didn't happen. And at that point in time, I was like, okay, I want to wait and wait for a week at least to make sure this is true. But so it did happen again.
Yes, it did. That's what. Even though they sort of not arrested, but at least I have 3 articles here. 100 detained in Cologne, and the chief dismisses racial profiling because I saw today on Twitter some fucking regressive idiot woman was basically saying, oh, they shouldn't have prevented the raping because the profiling of, and I have the word here.
Yeah, I saw it too.
Yeah,
Nafri. Because profiling in a way is offensive. Yeah, but it prevents crime. Yeah, but it's worse that you profile than that you prevent crime. The crime that you are preventing is not that bad, but the fact that you profile is worse.
Look, like, vaginas, those things are elastic. They can heal. Feelings are hurt forever.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
But being stopped to celebrate.
I for one don't feel that we need to go making, risking it like so greatly. It's a little raping between friends.
Yeah, and they're basically, I have actually 3 articles here. I wanted to have Crowd on. I've invited him, and he said he may have come on. I hope he does. I really enjoy talking to him, and wish he would come. And about the cognitive dissonance that you have, that'll lead on to another one afterwards, which about Lily Allen, but we'll get to that later. Preventing rape seems to be less important than what?
Protecting
not preventing. Yeah, preventing the feelings and not preventing rape.
Mm-hmm. No. It's a little bit worse than that. It's not preventing rape. It's not hurting the feelings of people that commit rape.
Well, after they've traveled so far, I mean, don't you think they deserve a little struggle snuggle?
Yeah, I don't.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm really old-fashioned like that, but no.
This sort of dark humor is really the only thing I have to bring to the table on this, because there's no excusing it otherwise. And cutting humor aside, there's no excusing this kind of imbecile shit. I like the way Sargon put it a while back. He described when he said Lily Allen, who's going to come up in a moment, champagne socialist. And that really is the case. It's like, just almost all of the celebrities and such who are saying that we need to open up our homes and so forth. These are people who live in these like remote estates where like the public's not even allowed in, let alone North African migrants.
Yep.
So yeah, like it's going to take a little bit more doing to get me to buy this shit. In the meantime, like while the world's just kind of smoldering and then flaring up again like a dying campfire, what else is a man to do?
Well, the thing that upsets me most about this is not that there are people who feel discriminated, and it's not that certain people do or do not get attacked. What upsets me most is that our politicians are so busy with trying to, virtue signal, that they actually throw true refugees under the bus as well. Because if we look at Germany now, let's say 1% of all the refugees that came to Germany is criminal. It's more than 1%, I know, but let's say 1% of them is. That means that 99% of them is not. And they came to Germany to be protected. They are just as little protected as the rest of the Germans are. And that 1% is dominating what's going on at the moment. How come we cannot say that, okay, criminals are criminals. If they're nafty, they're nafty. Who cares? But they're criminals. This is not about all foreigners. This is about the criminal element between the foreigners. But as soon as you make the distinction that it's criminal elements between foreigners, you said foreigners, therefore racist, therefore you're not allowed to say anything because you're, well, a bigot, racist, etc. And then everything is allowed to happen again.
Which, you know, it's like any other debate, really. Though, I mean, if you take the, I mean, I'm getting increasingly familiar with this particular one, but you know, the debates over immigration, for one thing, they always seem to devolve, at least in what everyone hears and what everyone sees, into this sort of binary sort of camp situation. You are either fully in favor of letting anyone who wants to come into the country in without any sort of bureaucracy or processing, or you want closed borders and anything from like like from xenophobic nationalism up through an ethno state. And just simply asking, I mean, one thing I heard this recently on a public radio program here, like the United States is like a lot of European nations' governments are sort of trying to chastise the U.S. for not taking in as many of the refugees, and they always call them Syrian refugees too, even though half
they're Somali, they're Iranian,
Somali,
they're Iraqi,
Pakistani, Iraqi. You know, if you want to help, you know, I'm all on board for helping Syrians escape war. I really am. But like here in the States, we have a very rigid process for accepting refugee applicants. They have to go through the State Department. They have to be vetted through Homeland Security and the intelligence bureaus. Once they're here, they're basically like, they're settled somewhere. They are given like basically caseworkers, and they're, you know, they're put into programs which help them integrate. And I live in a refugee hub city here, like here, Manchester, New Hampshire. It's a refugee placement city, and you know, because of those services, they actually do integrate rather well. They either get jobs or they start businesses, and typically they do rather well when they get here. But it's because we manage the issue and we don't just go one way or the other and just sort of give in to whatever the throes and passions of advocates on one side or the other are.
Yeah, the problem what we see in Europe is that the whole concept of refugees is that they're poor, they can't help each other, they can't help themselves. We need to protect them no matter what they do, even if they commit crimes, because the poor refugees. We've seen this, for example, with politicians who actually either are victim of crimes themselves, rape, or have lost a child, a daughter being killed by a European parliamentarian, German European parliamentarian. He lost his daughter to one of these, well, criminal refugees. And still, they push the notion that this doesn't happen. Not that this is the exception, because this is the exception. We can all live with this is the exception. But that's not the notion they're pushing. They're pushing the notion this doesn't happen. They're actually burying their head in the sand. We've seen, for example, in Germany that refugee camps are being destroyed by some refugees because they didn't like what they were given in those camps.
Those weren't people fleeing war, though. Those were people who look, you know, legit going for a handout. It's the kind of thing which, ironically, is said a lot of times about Mexican immigrants here in the States, when more often than not, those, you know, the Mexican immigrants we have here are typically coming here to work and make money and spend money, which is ideally what you want. But yeah, I mean, the very fact that, you know, they're given housing, they're given services, and you really, I mean, I don't know, I haven't been able to follow it too closely, but it does seem as though the majority of the problems come from the North African migrants and not actually the Syrian refugees. Syrians largely seem to be getting to where they're going and then just being really fucking happy no one's dropping barrel bombs on them.
Yeah, well, among the Syrians, there will be some criminals too. In all fairness, we're talking over 1.5 million people. So even if there's only a tenth of a percent or even less than that of criminals amongst them, there will be criminals amongst the Syrians too. The whole issue isn't whether we should vet them or whether we should stop them. The whole issue is, if someone is a criminal, we should address that. We shouldn't use, you know, how do you call it? Those gloved hands. We don't have to be careful with them. Yeah. And I mean, I already invited you once. We were talking about maybe doing a stream together on this, because this boils down to an idea that I had, and this is something I am more or less recognizing in the Western world. We need to step off of this whole ethnicity thing. We need to step up towards a cultural thing. Either you're willing to be part of our culture, and if you are, then you're welcome, or you're not. And if you're not willing to be part of our culture, then this is not your safe haven. I mean, it can be a temporary safe haven, but this is not your safe haven.
Mm.
and
yeah, I mean, even still too, I mean, like, well, then you get into the arguments though about what like pluralistic culture really means, and then you get some people who believe that it means effectively, okay, you're gonna take everyone in, they're gonna bring their own thing, they're gonna do their own thing, you're gonna give them their own space to do their own thing, and then what? Whereas, and I love using New York as an example. A lot of people like trying to say, oh, it's segregated as hell. At the same time though, everyone lives around and right next to each other. They're too packed not to. So the Hungarian baker will get lunch at the Szechuan noodle shop, and he'll do the same thing every day because he likes the noodles and he'll know the guy. And the Chinatown acts largely Chinese but abides by American law, and the same goes for all of the other cultures that are really there.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you, because what you're now saying is that all these cultures basically share one culture.
Yeah, and it's a pluralistic culture. They have
it's not.
It is in their own area. They abide by the laws, but the thing is that when it comes to their own dealings with their own people, they do so according to their own codes.
Yes, but the culture they are part of is the dominant culture they are part of is that they accept each other. They don't tolerate each other. They accept each other. They do not attack others.
No,
sorry, go ahead.
I agree. I don't agree. They do tolerate each other. The only ones that don't tolerate seem to be the Islam.
Yeah, but there's a difference between tolerate and accept, to be honest.
But yeah, of course, I'm not saying that he's accepting, but they do abide. All cultures except Islam seems to, at the moment now, abide by the laws of the land that they live in.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, like, in between you Europeans and especially myself, coming from America, where we've got more of a lineage-based sort of cultural heritage notion, everyone can think of like one other peoples or culture of some kind that just, they just don't seem to get it. They're always just being that annoying version of like the stereotype of themselves. Here, I find it's oftentimes Puerto Ricans in Lawrence, Mass, for instance. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they're still American. And it does really seem, though, is that globally, like, for those who are attempting to go to other lands and live within other cultures, the least tolerant and the least interested in integration and pluralistic cohabitation seems to be those coming from Islamic countries.
Yes. And I would like to add one, how do you call it, caveat to that. It's not the ones coming from Islamic countries. It's the one coming from Islamic countries that support Sharia. Because I do see a difference between Muslim and Muslim. And this is something, that's why this is why I wanted to have this talk with you, because I really think we should stop about blaming people on ethnicity, but look at it more from a cultural background. And Western culture is quite, how do you call it, inviting, open, you're welcome to join. And we don't really ask a lot back. But if you look at certain other cultures, and unfortunately Islam is one of the more painful cultures like that, they don't want to integrate, they don't want to tolerate, they want to dominate.
Can I make a point to this? Hey, everyone. I've known.
Hi there, Sargon. Yes, you can.
How are you, Sagan?
Right, I
Yes.
think that we should be careful to differentiate between Muslims and Islamists. I think.
Oh yes.
I think we should. The people we have a problem with Islam is the Islamists. There are like secular liberal Muslims, basically.
I'm not disagreeing, but I'm not
in any of this, and it's not worth our time like arguing with them because they, they'll just be like, well, I'm not doing that, and so we've got no argument there. But if we go specifically for the Islamists, then I mean they're not going to be defending them. We can. It'll be easier for us to paint it as like right-wing theocrats.
I don't like the term Islamist, though. I mean, it's a made-up term to pretend something. I prefer to say, okay, you have Muslims and you have Muslims. I'm sorry, there is no different word for it.
Okay, but I don't think that's I don't think that's such a wise strategy, though. What do you think?
I agree that it's not a
What he's
wise.
saying is to draw a distinction so that that are able to understand.
Yeah, it just serves differentiating between the two that you're trying to say, because there are Muslims and then there are Muslims, and some of those Muslims are Islamists and some of them aren't. So there is a distinction.
Well,
yeah, I think it's an important one because that allows us to basically defeat the regressives when they're arguing with us. Because we're not talking about Muslims, we're talking about Islamists specifically. These are the people we can tell you where they go. They're like Salafist preachers in mosques and stuff.
Yeah, and it helps communicating. It helps communicate with like Muslims, with other Muslims as well too, because if you acknowledge the distinction between them, even if they haven't maybe defined it that way, if they understand that you hold a distinction between the two, they would be more willing to talk with you when you criticize Islamic culture, Sharia law, and the like.
And you're not automatically putting yourself in opposition to them.
The thing is, there is an opposition to be made, though, and that difference is not Muslims. That difference is Sharia.
The difference basically is that Islamist is a term, like Carl said, it's not accurate. They're fundamentalist Muslims and secular Muslims. That's the distinction.
I'm sorry, no, there are.
Yes.
If you look at what the Quran asks, yeah, it's quite simple. You're not a fundamentalist.
Exactly.
You're just
but if you don't actually follow what the Quran says, like
if you don't follow what
people don't with their religions,
if you don't follow what the Quran says, you're a secularist or you are a
progressive
or whatnot. But if you do follow the Quran, if you do follow what the Quran says, you're not a fundamentalist.
Well,
oh yes, you are.
No, you're not, because you're still not planning on committing crime, and you're still not.
But no, can I just say no? The crime is not what the Quran is saying. If you follow the Quran word for word, you are a fundamentalist. You are fundamentally following what the Quran teaches.
And we call them Islamists because they argue for the political expression of Islam.
Okay, but
it's very easy to spot an Islamic fundamentalist because they'll be out in the street going Sharia for Britain and stuff like that.
But that's roughly 50% of the Muslims then.
No, it's not 50%.
Well, hold on. Well, more than that though too. I mean, another distinction is worth drawing here though, because you can have a religious fundamentalist who holds their fundamental views, even if they hold them politically, believing that they should be the law of the land, they will still maintain and abide by the laws as they are. And I know this living in America where we have fundamentalist Christians.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they should be like just locked up for their beliefs or something.
Oh, I'm not either. I'm just saying that even
I'm talking really about the public dialogue.
Yeah, but I think even between Islamist and fundamentalist, there's a distinction to be made. Islamist, it's almost as though a fundamentalist is one who holds certain beliefs, and an Islamist is one who acts upon them.
I don't know. Because I mean, if you fundamentally believe in the Quran, then you do hold political positions.
That would then be the extremists. The Islamists would be in the extremists of the fundamentalists.
But if we look at Pew Research, and I don't have the papers ready, I'm sorry, but if we look at Pew Research, we see that more than 50% of Muslims in, for example, the UK, are in favor of Sharia.
Yeah,
we see that more than 50% of Muslims in the UK are in favor of doing what Sharia demands of them.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I think we should differentiate between those people and the people who don't think that.
And that's the point I was trying to make. That's the only point I'm trying to make. Now, not everyone who follows Sharia will go out and kill people, but they still believe that killing those people is a good thing.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about talking about the two different groups separately, so we can I guess it's kind of like divide and conquer. I don't want the regular secular Muslims thinking of themselves in the same category as the Islamists.
No,
because then we lose the conversation automatically.
Yeah, I understand what you
We
mean.
need to start winning the fucking arguments.
Yeah,
So if we call them Islamists, I mean, it's got a negative connotation anyway. It sounds right-wing and theocratic.
Yeah, half of the fight right now is actually trying to drag back the conversation from the fundamentalist fringe nut jobs on all sides. Those on the left who say that we need to open our doors to Sharia, and those who are saying that all Muslims demand Sharia law.
Well, and both of them are not
exactly it. Because I mean, look, have you guys looked at Gert Wilder's fucking manifesto? It's actually really fucking fascist.
Yeah.
I was looking at it today thinking, holy shit. I mean, he literally wants preventative detention of radical Muslims. I mean, who's going to decide what a radical Muslim is exactly? I mean, is that going to get expanded? I have a funny feeling it probably fucking will be, right?
But the problem there is, though,
close all mosques, ban Islamic schools, and ban the Quran. Now, I'm happy to ban Islamic schools, but closing all mosques and banning the Quran, that's
No, I understand what you say, but the problem, I don't agree with well, just about everything you said. No, I have to rephrase that. Yes, it is so extreme. It's not useful. Now, personally, I would say I would prefer to ban everyone who follows Sharia, but there is no way to make sure that we can, because unfortunately, people within the Quran actually does promote lying about your religion.
Yeah, again, but most Muslims don't follow it to the ones that don't follow it to a fundamentalist degree. Why would we punish them?
No, I agree with you there.
This is the point, and this is what Wilders and that are actually.
But
Wilders probably isn't going to win, so it's actually not as bad as it sounds. But the point is, he's got 25% of the vote, and if he had like a couple of traitor parties that did agree to form a government with him, maybe he could, but it's unlikely. But the point is, it's a huge issue with people, and we need to actually start being able to address it, because the way framing it as like Muslims gives the progressives the perfect opportunity to shut down any kind of debate from going forward from that point. Something like hashtag you're a bigot. And that means the conversation goes no further. And it's we need to just extract those people from the conversation, because there is no defending the Islamists. So that's why, and it was just a thought I had just as you brought up.
No, but you make it.
Do you see why I think it's important?
No, I do, and I agree with that. And the real problem is that in all fairness, if push comes to shove, most Muslims have more to fear from extreme Muslims than the non-Muslims.
If the terrorism stats are anything to go by.
Yeah, most of them know that.
And yet still, we are still, and this is the argument I made earlier. It's not the problem that we are taking in so many refugees. It's the problem that if a refugee commits a crime, we say, well, he's a poor refugee, never mind. Instead of that, we say, wait a second, you're committing a crime. Fuck you, you commit a crime, you go to jail. We have rapists in Swedish refugee camps who are being relocated because they raped someone in the camp they were in.
Yeah,
why are they relocated?
It happens here. People are let off, and it's only the sort of like fringe right wing that will report on it. It's only that, and it's like, holy shit, the court has actually let off a fucking Islamic rapist, and it's just like the left just won't touch it. It's just like,
the left. Everyone's worried about the narrative.
Respond to that.
Yeah, well, everyone's worried about their narrative, and the fringe right has just been handed everything they needed for theirs on a silver platter over the last several years.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's the left's fault for not talking about it.
Yeah, that's a problem, because at certain point in times, I find myself defending right-wing rhetoric, even though this is not something I completely agree with, but because it's closer to the truth than what I used to identify myself with, because I like to think of myself as progressive, but I can't call myself progressive anymore, considering what the rest of the world now considers progressive.
Yeah, that's exactly why I abandoned the label. Exactly why. Because it was just like, these people are just not in touch with reality. Like, I mean, I was having this Twitter argument with this one guy, because I've got like a persistent set of trolls, and I've noticed that everything that they say is like, it's not a refutation of what I've actually said, it's just the other argument. And it's like, okay, but I've only got 140 characters, and that's just an argument I'm making. That's something. And then you're saying this is also something. Yes, that is also something, but that doesn't refute or, delegitimize what I've just said. It's just another thing, just these things all exist in tandem. And I've noticed that this is just like a method of argumentation now. And I'm thinking, well, nothing's being refuted here. It's all, but at the same point, they use that as a way of just ignoring what you've said.
Yeah.
So if you say, look at the fucking terror statistics or something, they'll say, yeah, but what about X or something else? It's just like, yeah, but that doesn't refute what I've just said. And so you haven't addressed my points. And this is what fucking people, I think a lot of people are responding to as well. Just this is why they're going to the people who are actually going straight for the actual issues.
I've had this with a colleague at work not too long ago, and she is Muslim, and we started talking about certain things in the past, and she was like, "Yeah, but you're attacking my religion," and I said, I don't want to attack your religion. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is this shit happens. We both agree that this is not right. And then basically she says, yeah, but you're talking about facts and I'm talking about how I feel.
Well, and
I'm a sociotherapist. We're not the dumbest people in the world, and this is a colleague of mine. For fuck's sake.
I like how you point out that we're not the dumbest. There are dumber out there, don't worry.
Yeah, but
yes, they are. She's open about that, though. That's amazing. I'm talking about my feelings. Well, I don't care. Well, I mean, obviously you do care about feelings, but that's not an objective standard that we can go by. So, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do with your feelings?
Yeah, but that's the point. And I mean, if you have someone...
People are dying, your feelings are just going to have to get hurt.
Working in psychiatry with a sociotherapist, and that sociotherapist then tells you that, yeah, but feelings are more important. I'm like... How? I mean,
wait, no, I know. I actually get it. She wants to make sure that there's work continually, because if we keep operating on feelings over facts, then we're going to need a lot more psychotherapists as we go along.
And there I am thinking that my goal in life is to make sure that I don't need to do my job anymore.
Well, you've just been educated. You've just discovered.
Thank you very much.
I give you peace of mind and job security at the same time. You're welcome.
Yeah.
This is I'm starting to wonder though, and I've been maintaining this for a while. I have good amount of faith, honestly, in the next generation. I think much of this generation, millennials and those who are just slightly older than them, who still buy into this shit, I think they're kind of lost. And I think I do, for some reason, honestly, because there are enough people who are scratching their heads wondering how the fuck did this happen, that I think it's going to take a generation before we can unfuck ourselves in this particular way. And I think, unfortunately, things like Islamic, both terror and migrant violence, as well as obscenely bipolar swings in political decisions in democracy, are just going to continue for at least another generation before anything starts to even change. But we're laying the groundwork for what that can be through these kinds of conversations.
The last time that Islam went on an expansionist drift into Europe, it took 300 years for Europe to respond to it. So I hope this time will be a little bit faster.
You didn't have
and do you guys know who were the first country to liberate themselves from Islam?
Oh, why do I have a feeling
Was
I
it
know?
Portugal?
Of course. I had to. Sorry, guys. I had to be.
If you guys can't get close to winning the World Cup, you just have to look deep into your history to find something to be proud of, huh?
Shit, we don't want the World Cup. We won the Euro. We beat France, man. I was so fucking pessimistic about that game. I said, "Fuck, France is gonna."
Meanwhile, the English are sitting here being like, "Oh, you beat France. That's adorable."
Well, Greece beat us in 2004. So what do you expect? We had a payback.
Yeah, but listen, Carlos, you don't understand.
We are going off course.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. You brought it to Portugal, and you've actually had some interesting things to say about Portugal's action and response to. I mean, where does Portugal stand right now? Is it closer to Poland or is it closer to? Well, not Sweden. No one's that close.
No. Yeah, Portugal stands. We are all for immigrants coming to Portugal. Last year, the last current year, Portugal reserved. They sent in applications to 10,000 refugees, quote unquote, whatever. Houses were readied. we have a lot of empty houses in Portugal because of the crisis, the economic crisis we're having here. So houses were ready to harbour the immigrants. 165 showed up, came over to Portugal. But unbeknownst to the immigrants, or let's call them immigrants because they are not refugees at the moment. Once they leave their first port of safe harbour, they are first refugees, then they are immigrants. So they came to Portugal. We didn't put them together. We sent one family to a village in one part, another family to another part, another family to another part. So they were you can imagine a family in a village where the rest of the population are Catholic. Right? That's one of the aspects. Secondly, the government could only afford about 470 euros of welfare to give them, even though Merkel was helping us, right? So mid-December, one of our ministers or secretaries of state or whatever the fuck they are, a public servant from the government, came and had a news conference. Oh, we have misplaced 140 of the 165 immigrants that we received. Well, knowing that they have families in Germany, most likely they just hopped on the bus and went there. And I have been, if anyone follows my Twitter feed, I have been predicting this since the beginning of January 2015, when Portugal announced that we were ready to receive immigrants. That's the solution. Be fucking poor like Portugal is. You will never have a Muslim, Islamists or Muslims coming over here.
Yeah, it's even worse though, because if you look at certain countries where they come from, like what was it, Morocco and a few other countries, they are economically strong. They're actually growing.
Yes, exactly. Shit, they prefer to go to Spain, which they just have to cross the border. I live fucking 2 kilometers away from Spain. I can walk there in 10 minutes if I want to. So they cross over and they get twice as much welfare as we do here, and they have a greater population.
I don't know if it's changed because I don't really follow markets too much. But wasn't Spain going flat broke in a very similar way to Cyprus not too long ago?
Oh, of course it is. More than I read exactly more than Portugal is. They are fucking prosecuting everyone to get some fucking tax returns back. They prosecuted Messi, clubs. My brother-in-law works for us in a company which the old owners of it are all fucking in jail because they didn't pay their taxes right. So yeah, they are going after, but still's not enough because they have bigger welfare than we do.
Well, it was a funny thing. A while back, I remember this was like years ago, about a decade ago, when actually it was more than a decade ago. It was during like the whole Bush years, war on terror, all of that, when everything was just basically a big grab bag for defense contractors. I remember I wanted to write a short story where I took a handful of countries and then basically turned them into people and put them in a neighborhood. And it was all focused on this spoiled little brat girl named America. And she had just this she just couldn't get enough of luxury. So she's paying off one credit card with another while like filling her gun cabinets with every like fancy, needless, gold-plated like duck hunting shotgun she could get. All the meanwhile, like her Chinese neighbor was basically taking bets with the Russian neighbor down the street as to how long it would take her to go broke, and then when they'd win each time, they'd finance her spending some more. And I'm thinking, like, maybe I need to revisit that story concept and redo it for Europe. Just a lovely little.
You can. I can even give you the characteristics of Portugal. We have a term. It's called the Chico Esperto, the smart cunt. Portuguese, the ones that remain because we export people. Portugal basically exports brains. Doctors are leaving, nurses. We supply about 20,000 nurses to the UK, 15,000 to Canada, about 7 to 12,000 to Germany. We supply brains, basically. That's our export market. And the chico esperto, the smart, basically means a smart ass, is what remains. So I'm trying to look at a good picture that basically characterizes that. But that's what you could put as Portuguese are at the moment. No one wants to fucking rule us. I mean, Britain at its peak of power during the Napoleonic Wars, after they beat Napoleon, they didn't want to rule us. They sent a ship basically every month to Brazil where our kings were. Come over here because we are fucking sick and tired of these cunts. That's how good we are. Fucking proud of that, by the way.
Well, every history has something, I guess.
Yeah. The few Muslims we have in Portugal are really tame. I could shit. I don't want to be that much of a cunt, but they are okay people. The first thing I said was more accurate, and they are kept in check because we are poor. That's possibly the solution to this. I hope it never is the solution because shit. I don't want the world to be poor. I'd love Portugal to be fucking rich again, as it used to be, but it's not going to happen. Anyway, I think we covered Islam enough. Do you guys want to go on to Lily Allen? This would be Sargon's thing. He really had and not just Sargon, but a lot of people went on to Lily Allen, and I love the conversation.
You know, I hate it because I actually did. I continue to like sometimes enjoy her music because it was something like it was one of those things where like I just caught onto it. An ex-girlfriend of mine showed it to me, and then it was just sort of part of the theme, like the soundtrack to like an interesting time of life. But my God, I mean, how fucking stupid can one person be? Every time I think Lena Dunham has set a new bar, I see Lily Allen's chomping at the bit to show everyone that hey, she doesn't have a monopoly on dumb, on dumb cunt bullshit.
That's what I thought. Just her Twitter exchange with Tommy Robinson. By the way, I don't like him because he fucking. I've seen a video of him. He threatening an old cunt that invaded his meeting or whatever with violence. That cut me off. That's a nope. Even though he has some points, valid points, that sort of tipped it for me. I hate violence. And no, but getting back to the point, yeah, that conversation, Lillian and Tommy Robinson, was surreal. He was making her look stupid, which she is, of course. Yeah, and
she's a pop star, man, and exactly known for the deep well springs of intellect.
No, absolutely not. When he mentioned that he has to be in hiding because his life is threatened, her response was basically, "Oh, but taxpayers are paying for that." Really? That's her response, not shit, man. Stay safe. That my response would be shit, man. Stay safe. Not, oh God, you're being a hypocrite because the taxpayers are also paying for your being into hiding and that, which is not. He clarified that, and basically the taxpayers are paying for the migrants, quote unquote, apartments, which in Sweden that they've been kicking invalid people out and to house them, for example. And she goes on to say, what? Taxpayers are paying for your going into hiding? What a fucking response is that? Where's the humanity in people? Sorry for the rant, guy. Yeah, sorry for the rant. I get passionate about it. Yeah, no, I get passionate about stuff like that. I really do.
You should. More people.
She takes more into account the feelings of the for example, of the murderer that killed 39 or 40 people in Istanbul because he was a migrant, and she shut up when Tommy Robinson showed it. Yes, he was a migrant. Then the people that actually died and their families.
But isn't that what we see constantly when we talk about basically our current political system, our current cultural system in the West? I mean, whatever is good is done by someone else. Whatever is bad is done by us. Everyone who attacks us has a good reason. Everyone we attack, we oppress.
I think we should be making the argument more that we have an ethical duty to the families of the dead to try and fucking solve these problems.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yes. This is what drives me crazy. They're always like, "Oh, you're so quick to condemn." It's like, well, if we don't figure out what happened, then the people died in vain. That's the very least we can do, isn't it? You know. So.
Well, I kind of made a small movie based on a text I found, and that text was quite simple. You were there too, Carlos. We did a stream on it.
Yes.
About I don't care where you come from. You're welcome here. You are. These are the rules I want you to apply by. If you're willing to live by my rules, you're welcome here. You really are. I have nothing against blacks. I have nothing against gays. I have nothing against anyone. So please don't have anything against me because you live in my country now.
All of those militant homosexuals out there they just can't wait to just murder in the name of I don't know what, an end to this.
Dick sex.
So something interesting happened to me. The British Liberal Party, a political party in the UK, with a platform that I glanced at and seems relatively okay, which is why I mentioned them in the video. They contacted me and want me to come to a meeting of theirs so they can meet me. I don't know what the state of the party is. I think they have some representatives though. And I'm basically thinking I'm going to go to one of these meetings and interrogate them ideologically, see what they believe, and why they believe it. What do you guys reckon?
I'd say you'd be better off letting them do that to you.
No, actually, I think it's a good thing to go out and see what they believe.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes.
No, interrogate them. But here's the thing: keep in mind, I mean, like, you go ahead and learn about what they're believing, but also let the conversation flow backwards as much as you like, because I wouldn't be remotely surprised if their invitation to you wasn't because they genuinely want some fresh ideas that aren't going to prove to be a miserable embarrassment.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, they're probably just looking at the size of my audience, thinking, well, that's something we want to tap into. But this is why I'm thinking about adopting kind of prosecutor's sort of stance towards it. As in, I want to really, I really just want to sit them down and just blast them with questions to see how regressive they are.
Or just go straight Inquisitor.
I'm thinking about it. Just like, okay, well, look, I've got a bunch of questions and I want you to answer them. And if I'm not happy with the answers, I'm leaving.
Yeah, but
that's the perfect strategy, man. Yeah.
But didn't you, Sargon, in one of your videos talk about, or what was it, another politician, liberal, I think she was. No, not her, the party. And that you were thinking like, okay, this is something I can stand behind because the way they portray.
Yeah, this is the party.
Yeah.
This is it. And it's
I mean,
like, if I'm going to support them, then they're going to have to know why, liberalism is what it is and what they're supposed to be standing for. Because the thing is, we've got to take such a hard line against this SJW shit. If we're ever going to have any kind of political expression, it has to be specifically to defeat the SJWs. Because that is how, like, they have to be beaten.
Well, this is then something I want to put forth to all of us to think about. I think I have the feeling that at times we decide that we agree with something or not, and then we support that no matter what. And I like to think that it might be better to say, okay, you know what? Those are your ideas. Some of it I agree with. Some of it I do not. I can still support you, but some of what you say I do not agree with, and this is why.
Well, that used to be a hallmark of liberalism. One of the biggest problems with liberalism over the 20th century especially was that it continually tried to expand the size of its tent. It wanted to welcome all comers, bring your ideas, and let the cream float to the surface. But as that became the norm and the notion, it became, oh, well, now we need to look and see whose ideas aren't being as represented as they might like and cater to them because it's
You know, I think that's a really optimistic assessment. I think that liberalism is basically infiltrated by intersectional social justice.
Actually, it wasn't even infiltrated. This I feel more was sort of a it was sort of an infection which grew from within. It was the notion of taking the idea too far.
Yeah,
I'm not.
You know what? The thing is, I think it's the Marxist interpretation of equality.
Yes,
that's what I think it is.
Yes,
People didn't understand that, like.
Well, yeah, you couple that. You couple that with.
Well, the idea of holding diversity up as a standard is really bizarre, right? Because it's like to say, right, okay, it has to be diverse means it's the opposite of what a liberal would propose, right? I mean, they're only ever going to be like, right, okay, equality of opportunity and diversity is a consequence rather than a goal. And we need to.
More than that, though, they seem to want diversity to actually mean basically take the gross total demographics of a given population, flip them completely on their head, and make the minority the majority in this specific powerful part, and then you have diversity.
Yeah, but they don't want diversity.
Even if they wanted it exactly representative, what that means is that they need a power over the system that they have no right to have. Because to have like an accurate representation of the entire population in every given field doesn't really change anything. It doesn't do anything, and it's totally illiberal. It gives them complete top-down control of the entire system. And I don't want anyone, especially an ideological group, having top-down control over any system.
Yeah, but the only reason why they want top-down control is because they do not want diversity. But they grab control by pretending they want diversity so that many people will support them. But in the end, you're supporting air, and air can't support you. So
yeah, but that's exactly the point. Because liberals go, well, they go, well, diversity is a good thing, and liberals go, yeah, diversity is a good outcome. That's fine. There's nothing. I mean, that's the natural consequence of liberalism is that you will get an interesting diversity of things happening because everyone's free to follow their natural inclinations, and a complex system operates on its own.
Yeah.
But they've taken that preference for the pluralism of liberalism to mean, right, okay, now we have a mandate to enforce this pluralism, and that's how they get where they want to go. And we've got to stop that. We've got to identify and break it in the conversation. It's like identify and say, look, you don't have the justification to have control for your desire for diversity, because as soon as you start discriminating in favor of some, you're discriminating against others, and you're doing it on the basis of fucking race and shit like this. And that's not an acceptable liberal position.
But that's
no doubt. No, yep, absolutely, yeah.
But
this is a notion I've been toying with. Let me just throw this out. It's a notion I've been toying with, though, because I mean, as we've been going, especially with the alt-right kicking up now, and certain progressives who are, they're social justice-y, but maybe not to the extreme degree of many of the fraudsters out there and so forth. Is that I have to wonder if there's not like sort of a pragmatic progressivism within the wing, as it was, which can be shown like, listen, these are the losses you suffered because of your giving in to the throes and passions of your louder and less politically skilled and less sociable elements. But more than that, if you're not able to abide by a more stricter liberal as opposed to progressive sensibilities in terms of your politics. I mean, go out and advocate for whatever you want, but if you're setting mandates and insisting that it has to work this way, you're taking your ball and going home, then none of this is going to work. And your nightmare of a resurgence of orthodox fringe right-wing power is going to be delivered by your own hand. I have to wonder if that's something that might go somewhere.
That's exactly what's happened. They seem to be in this snarky phase of denial at the moment, as if because Brexit hasn't actually happened, Trump hasn't actually taken office, and it's like I'm seeing it all over Twitter constantly with the regressive left, just like this kind of snarky, oh, look at the stupid things everyone's done. It's going to be awful. It's like, look, would you just shut up? It's going to happen.
Christmas isn't even close. It's still a week off. I'll do my shopping soon. Don't worry. Exactly.
It's like, look, you're going to have to prepare for the future. This is what's going to be going on. And, if you continue to alienate people through this next 4 or 5 years, that's going to be really fucking stupid, isn't it? That's just going to solidify.
Okay.
I had a debate about that today on Twitter. This after I came from work, just on that actual subject about Brexit, because the BBC went to the town that voted mostly to leave. They interviewed 3 women who said, "Oh, I regret that I voted to leave. Now I want to stay," and they made a story about that. And I had to argue that was a bias report. And I even proved to the person which I debated that I predicted that the Remainers had fear-mongered, because he argued, no, they all lied. The Leave lied to us. I said, how did they lie? Here, they didn't lie. They both lied. Actually, both parties lied. Of course they do.
Both sides just constant lies.
Both sides lied.
But I mean, if I look at the politics in the Netherlands, I'm Dutch. For those of you who don't know this yet, in the Netherlands we have the PVV, Party for Freedom of Geert Wilders, and he's seen as a right-wing extremist, and in a lot of ways he is.
Yeah, that's a good reason.
He really is. That's why people see him as such, and this is. But I find myself more often than not having to actually defend the positions he's taken. Not because I agree with them, but because they make sense. And the only arguments people use against them is, but this is racism. Yeah. This has gone so far that Geert Wilders has been brought up on charges for inciting racism.
Yes.
Whilst being at a rally, he asked people, do you want more or less Moroccans? And then he started a chant of less, 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 less. And he has been put to the court for that. He was found guilty. He didn't get any punishment other than being found guilty. And everyone is falling on that. But then again,
he went up in the polls. He went up in the polls.
Oh, of course he went. Of course he went up in the polls. But that's not even the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is we have had people from the VVD, which is a liberal party, the PvdA, which is a socialistic party. Well, not socialistic, social democrat party. We have politicians in those parties that said things that are way worse than what Wilders said. But no one calls them out on it. But they will call out Wilders out on it. Because he's right.
When you look into Sweden, aren't like left of center and genuine just left liberal parties being derided as being hateful bigots and alt-right and all that?
Yeah, if they don't follow the narrative they want to push, you're a bigot, you're a sexist, you're a misogynist.
Start doing all my liberal videos in these. Maybe they'll.
The worst part about it though is it really is that they're making him more popular.
Yeah, they are.
They make Nigel Farage more popular when they call him names.
Yeah,
because he's specifically, he's not saying kick the niggers out. He's saying, look, there are actual economic and social issues that are going on, and people are responding to him addressing their problems.
Yeah.
And the progressives going, well, that's racist, is not addressing the problems, and that's why the left has died. I think that fundamentally that is that issue that's killed the left.
Oh, absolutely. The West, which I don't include Portugal, because we are our political structure here is basically centrist, and we've had enough of dictatorships. Which is 1974, we got rid of one.
We haven't had many dictatorships.
Exactly. That's the problem. People have forgotten. The Germans are in a overcompensation for their dictatorship. The Italians the same. The East Europeans basically got rid of one dictatorship, and then they mostly, some of them, not all of them, saying, "What, you want to install another dictatorship?" I mean, the EU. Except Slovenia. Slovenia seems to like being under the EU so much that today or yesterday, the prime minister or president said countries of the EU should fucking stop making referendums.
Yeah.
Really?
Referendums don't turn out the way the politicians want, therefore you shouldn't have referendums. Hell, in the Netherlands, we're trying to get rid of the referendum about the trade agreement with the Ukraine because the people voted against it. And politicians have been squirming and wringing themselves and wriggling themselves in all sort of contorted motions just to push it through anyway. Instead of just saying, okay, well, we lost, it's not going to happen.
I wonder how much of that represents the will of the Slovenians, though. I mean, is it just politicians who are like feeding from the trough saying that?
Well, I mean, how engaged is Slovenia in politics? I mean, like, what level of apathy does Slovenia experience?
I don't know, but I would expect them to, the ordinary people, not to really identify with what their leaders said in that aspect.
Yeah, but maybe they receive a lot of EU funding or something.
Probably, I would also.
Yeah, so maybe they're for the EU.
Yeah, I know that our farmers here really love the European Union because they fucking get a subsidy to do fuck all. And I'm totally against that. I'm totally against that. I have a plan, but we'll discuss it in another time. But it's not important.
That is just how farm subsidies always work. As a country who has farm subsidies which dwarf some nations' GDP, I can tell you that's exactly what their intent is to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But here's a question though. It was interesting as it was brought up earlier, and we have a Dutchman here. So like, I remember, and this is as an American who's planning on traveling to Europe, hopefully this year, but never has yet. Now I remember, and this was out in Vegas, surrounded by lifestyle, food and drink bloggers and such. But there was a Dutchman asking me, "Have you ever been to Europe?" I said, "No, it's on my list of things to do real soon." Says you need to go to Germany. They're the nicest people. They are the nicest people, and it's kind of almost gets awkward because sometimes it really does feel as though they're trying to sort of make up for their history. And I said, "Well, what about the Dutch?" And he said, "Well, we're the rudest people in Europe."
That's not true, but it's also not true.
I mean,
Dutch people tend to be direct. It's not about being impolite, but we tend to be direct.
But I mean, Germany really does seem to be just still sort of it's like every political action on an international level is just a continuous mea culpa for Nazis.
Yeah, and which is weird, and I don't understand it. But it does seem that way.
I think I mean, it's because it's browbeaten into them from childhood.
Yeah, probably.
They're always talking about Nazis.
Well,
I lived out there for like 5 years when I was a teenager, and I met loads of Germans. And every time you get drunk with a German, then you'd end up having to talk about it. And you could tell it was a huge cultural weight on their shoulders.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because the Netherlands has always had a very symbiotic relationship with Germany. So the fact that the Netherlands were attacked by Germany in the Second World War came as a big surprise to everyone in the Netherlands.
And the first.
Well, in the First World War, we weren't any part. I mean, we had nothing to do with anything.
But still, we're still attacked. Well, not attacked, just they went through. Yeah,
well, they went through, but they didn't attack us.
The point is, it's huge cultural baggage for the Germans, and it's just for the Germans.
And it's just for the Germans. And I mean, in the Netherlands, we like to talk shit about Germany. It's America and Canada.
The Italians are just like, oh, that was a terrible time in our history, but look, now we got a beautiful beaches.
Yeah, but Germany still doesn't do that. Which is weird, because if we look at the economic growth, which was partially made possible because of the Marshall Project, don't get me wrong, but Germany pulled out Europe out of the Second World War as well.
Well, I mean, here's a question, because if you look at Sweden, you see the perfect avatar, almost like a gross caricature of white guilt, of white European guilt.
Yeah.
And then you take Germany, who has this history in which I don't want to say like it's warranted, but you can kind of conceive of why that would happen. I mean, do you think there's like a correlation between the two? I might be wrong, but I mean,
I think so, yes. But the correlation isn't our history. The correlation is our politics. For example, the Frankfurt School of Thought, which is basically neo-Marxism, which is basically the basis of what nowadays modern feminism stands for, well, second-wave feminism already, has become great in the Scandinavian countries, Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. And because of this concept of white men are bad, women have to be equal, and everyone who's not a white man is therefore also less bad. They are actually pushing that narrative so far that they have an institute to research gender neutrality and etc. etc. etc.
Well, once again, we've sort of come to the intersectionality of modern skepticism in a sense, in that it really does. I mean, it almost seems, and I'd love to see. You're a psychologist. I would really love to see, as a social psychologist, studies really rooting into the concept of collective societal guilt, because it seems almost to be a thing that people get off on, from the Catholics up through the Swedes.
Yes,
the sense of guilt. I am bad. I must be punished. I must atone for myself. It's almost like kinksters who just want to be.
I have to interrupt you though. I am not a psychologist. I didn't get those papers. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm just a sociotherapist, which is still something.
Hey, it's more than a Buddhist writer, man.
Well, it pays the bills.
Depends on how you look at it.
But the thing with how do you call it? Guilt.
Fetish. A guilt fetish.
A guilt fetish.
Guilt fetish.
It's the basis of what we have growing in the Western world now, where you have the oppression Olympics. But it started with the guilt fetish. You look at me. I'm so bad. Feel sorry for me. And it grows from that. There are people who actually.
So you think the guilt fetish is associated with a pity fetish, perhaps, in the way that, like, when somebody is prostrating themselves and apologizing for all of the evils that they represent, that maybe the suffering that they're enduring is somehow that which they should be able to demand respect and reverence from others as a result of?
You see this, for example, in the Catholic Church. You have a Catholic group, and I forgot the name, but they flagellate themselves because they are to blame for what went wrong in the sins they committed and the sins others have committed. This is a concept that has been brought to us with Christianity, and some countries, even those claiming to be very non-religious, seem to push that concept based on a different narrative then, but they still push that concept of, okay, we have to pay how do you call it, pence. We have to recompensate the world for the bad things that, not me, because I'm one of the good guys, but my family. Well, not my direct family, but my family 200 years ago. There is no logical basis on this other than that virtue signaling.
Well, this could be a result of me being basically like a global Philistine in a sense. But I have to wonder, like, sometimes it does almost seem to be sort of a European tradition rooted in some sort of Middle Eastern tradition that I don't really. I mean, maybe, and again, maybe it's because I'm just unfamiliar with the other cultures, but it doesn't seem to be as readily reflected in places like Africa or Asia or South America outside of the Catholic scene there.
Well, not even in the Middle East.
Well, I just where it started.
I just have to say that Portugal, and it's what I teach in history since primary school to university. We do not have the slightest guilt of our past.
Despite the fact that you pioneered the slave trade.
Of course we did, and not just that. We didn't pioneer the slave trade.
Because no one alive now had anything to do with it.
No, we started the African slave trade first. We had an experiment with the Canary Islands. Few people know that Portugal were the first country to actually conquer the Canary Islands.
But Portugal didn't start the slave trades. The Arabs were several hundred years before you.
I'm not saying we did. We just traded the Atlantic slave trade because
after it was industrialized, it was turned into a real viable, functional international business model.
Yes, because of Brazil, we did that. Yes. Mm-hmm. That was our experience of how to industrialize the slave trade.
And then I guess the English came along and fucked it all up for you, huh?
No, we didn't. We were allies. We still are allies with the English, the British. In fact.
Well, no, I was just tapping into something else. But no, I mean, I mean, so would it be safe to say then, though, that this sort of, and actually, you're right too. I mean, like, the whole guilt and shame concept, like shame is strong in the Middle East, but guilt doesn't seem to be as strong. But it seems though as though guilt fetish is almost a distinctly European thing. Maybe that's the white privilege. Wait.
No, yeah, if that is white privilege, you can have it.
Exactly. Shit. Where I live is the white part of Portugal. There are more redheads.
Where is
area.
this rooted in though? Where is this rooted then? I mean, and I'm not asking. I'm asking if anyone has any ideas.
I think it's the Anglo-Saxon thing.
No, I don't think it's Anglo-Saxon.
We're really not very guilt-based.
No, I really think it came with Christianity. I really think it came with Christianity. It is something you can see back in the Catholic countries at the moment as well. And England was pretty fast gone from Catholicism.
Yeah, I think it's Catholicism.
And basically that saved England for it. But if you look at Germany, 90% was Catholic. If you look at Belgium, if you look at France, if you look at Spain, if you look at...
Can't look at Portugal. Portugal is not.
Yeah, but Portugal had... when was that? 1680. The earthquakes that
1755
that destroyed most of the basilicums and whatnot.
Of Lisbon, yes.
So Portugal isn't that strongly Catholic as a lot of people seem to.
Are you kidding me? We still have the Concordata with the Rome.
I know, but at the same time, most people recognize that this is their religion. But what happens.
That's fascinating. This is fascinating though, because honestly, like, you know, if we could actually, like, if a study could actually be performed, I would love to see it done. Because like this, I mean, we could almost draw. It's sounding more and more like we could almost draw a definitive line between Catholicism and the rise of what's, call it honestly, the Catholic Empire, and modern social justice, progressive guilt fetish.
I wonder if you would get people to do a research. I wonder if it will be a fair research.
Well, I was kicked out of university, so I can't do shit. But.
Yeah, well, but I mean, in all fairness, even if we look at certain researchers now, one of my pet peeves is gender dysphoria. If you look into gender dysphoria research, even published articles which make absolute sense, which are brilliant, etc., they still talk about how gender is assigned, because otherwise they would get too much flack and they couldn't do their thing. So unfortunately, in the social sciences like psychology and sociology, you're not allowed to say everything openly anymore, because it's very Marxistic. It's very from a certain point of view.
I suppose then it would take getting a handful of like finding the right sociologists who were perhaps dedicated to finding truth as opposed to desired truth.
Yes.
And teaming them up with a handful of historians who were aimed for the same. See, yeah, it is kind of fruitless, isn't it?
Yeah, but unfortunately, I'm not sure how easy that would be.
I argue as from a biological point of view that of course there's only two sexes, and I will even take into account. I've seen the X fact. There's been children that are born with only X, some X, XY, XYY, etc. Exactly. That's easily that's not gender. That's just either
mutation.
I mean, the transgender movement aside, I mean, because that does feed into it, especially because people are discovering that if they identify as trans, but listen, I'm going to walk around as a man with my cock and balls, nice jeans, normal shirt, I'm going to go about my day, short haircut even, but you know what, I'm a woman because I say so.
Yeah.
That really does seem to feed into the guilt side of things, because it's like, well, keep in mind, I'm part of a class that you can't criticize, you can't go after, you cannot even argue with, because I'm right, because I told you one time I'm actually a woman, despite the fact that, yeah, everything else. But
I argue that that's sorry, Nick, go on. Sorry.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is like this theory is growing in my head now that it's like this. It was like this fetish was derived because you notice within religious community, like strictly, staunchly religious communities, be it Muslim, a Catholic, a Christian, you find some of the greatest levels of genuine depravity, sexual degeneracy coming from them. And I'm not just talking about things that like traditionalists say, oh, you had sex with a guy one time, you're a fucking degenerate, or like, oh, you like watching women get it on, you're a degenerate. No, I mean like genuine touching kids, abusing people. It always it seems so often to come from those who are devoutly religious. And as part of that, it almost seems like it's almost this fetish. It's almost like, and this comes from the kink world, but it's there's a whole thing known as denial play. You deny your submissive, your partner, the pleasure, the orgasm, whatever they may desire. You tease them with it, and you deny it until they come to a breaking point. And then once they're at that breaking point, if you give it to them, it explodes. And if you deny it, well, then they're just writhing in this half pleasure, half pain thing that they can't really process. And it's psychological play. And I almost have to wonder if the Catholic Church itself is not somehow responsible for the growth of that by discovering that within human nature. Humans love being given what they want, but at the same time, there's a part of us, some of us at least, that gets a thrill out of being denied what we want and having to wait and suffer for it. And as part of that, I mean, if you take it out of that kink sexual realm and you apply it to like a sociological factor in a manner in which you're considering the orchestration and engineering of societies, and you insist that everybody feel guilty about what they are, and that their own nature is wrong no matter what it is, that it's wrong and they need to make penance for it, then they feel as though they're good every time that they just sort of relish in that wrongness. And that is just sort of filtered and distilled over generations, it seems, to the point where it goes from a strict theocratic empire issuing dictums from some golden chair to a point where idiotic college students are combining the elements of sociological denial of nature and that of the guilt-ridden pleasure that comes from a sort of sexually oriented notion of who they are.
You make me think of the lyrics of one of Weird Al Yankovic's songs about Amish paradise. You think that you are holy, you think that you are whatever. Well, I'm 1,000 times more pious than you are.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
I see what you're saying there. I see what you're saying there. That is a thing because it gives people the opportunity to sort of like, like parade themselves out of some virtues, like some paragons of virtue. But at the same time,
this comes from Christianity.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, here's the thing, and this is what I've noticed, and I noticed this, and I'm sorry, I'm almost done with my bottle of wine, so I'm getting into that. I'm gonna hijack Stream's thing. But
I hope you don't drive, man. I hope you don't drive. You said you were going to take someone.
Yeah. No, what I wanted to point out here though is that it's a funny dichotomy that you find when you get into sexual kinks, and here's the thing: we can look at that as though it's some kind of like pleasure thing for people, but with people who are like really into fetishes, that's more than just sex for them. That's a part of their personality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and
personality.
And what you find is that those who are submissives, those who like to be, told that they're bad, beaten and abused, denied pleasure and used for pleasure, those are usually the people who in their day-to-day lives are the people who either by necessity and obligation of their real selves or by just a desire upon their own public personalities affect an air of power and control and maturity. These are people who are in control all the time. These are like, I mean, if you look at the call books of any dominatrix call girl out there, what you find is that it's high-powered business people, politicians, bankers, these sorts of people who have pressure and responsibility and power all day long. And the one thing that they want is a release by being bad, by being somebody else's dog.
Not so much as being bad, but it's probably more a question of relinquishing control.
It's relinquishing control and then being punished for being bad because they love being punished. And this is not going to say too much, but this is somebody who has a bit of experience with submissives. They love being punished for being bad. You set out rules for them, and they will violate them on purpose because they want that punishment, because they want to be reminded that they are not in control. And I have this odd feeling. I have this really odd feeling. If maybe there isn't something to that, because the denial, if one denies oneself the natural pleasures that they seek, even just base sexuality, which is, that's all rooted in our biology. We want to breed, and we want to breed a lot to make sure that our genetic material gets carried on down the line. And in the course of doing such, we deny that over and over and over again. This culture of shame and wickedness feeds that very same instinct to a level and degree that not much else could, because it's all rooted in our complex and frankly almost unnatural psychology. We're not like the rest of the creatures in the natural world. We everything is filtered through our psychology. So
if you look at S&M, one could argue that the one that is submissive still has a very large part of control of the situation.
Oh, they have most of the control. If it's done right, yeah.
Indeed. So you relinquish control up to a certain point.
Getting back to what gender is, the SJW gender, Tumblr gender is, it's basically personality traits, disorders, whatever you want to call them. I'd even go as far as say disorders, because what they expound would have been 40 years ago they would have been put in care, basically.
No, 40 years ago they wouldn't have shown this behavior. What we see,
it's the same as what they say. They identify is like saying the one flew over the cuckoo's nest, as that film. I can see the some of the characters saying one was identified as Napoleon, for example. What is the difference of someone identifying as a pansexual whatever?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I disagree, and this is why.
Yeah.
The shaping of the gender dysphoric concept as a positive thing.
I'm not talking about I'm not talking about gender dysphoric. That's different. I'm talking about Tumblr rights.
What they did then. What happened in people in the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? These were people with actual problems, but a lot of people that are now trenders,
are not.
They don't really have a problem. They are creating a problem just so that they can say, "Look at me."
Exactly, but do you see that they would have put people who were, I don't want to use the word abnormal because shit, it's not. It's people who have a personality dysfunction, you could say. I think that would be the most correct word, a dysfunction.
Yeah, it's a form of dysphoria. I'm not even going to say dysfunction. I'm really going to say dysphoria. The main difference is, though, that if we look at it like, for example, 30, 40 years ago, people wouldn't show this behavior because it would not be accepted. Why are we seeing so many people with this behavior now? Because it is somewhat accepted. It's been promoted.
It's been pushed to promoted, pushed to be accepted.
And unfortunately, by pushing it like that, you will have people who are going to, in Dutch we say overschreeuwen. They would overscream their situation. So they would exaggerate and make it worse and make it worse and make it worse until at a certain point in time, there is no way back for them. And then they're still not really gender dysphoric, but they've created a situation where they are, and because of that, they now go into treatment for gender dysphoria, even though they don't really have gender dysphoria, but they are so committed to their paranoia delusions that it will fuck them up. 30, 40 years ago, this would not have happened, because as soon as one starts with behavior like this, people would have said, come on, Don't be an idiot. And it would be over with. I mean, now we have kids who are claimed that they are, well, no, he wants to be a girl. How do you know he wants to be a girl? Well, he played with dolls. Well, fuck that. I played with dolls when I was a small kid.
It was
Nobody
me.
Nobody talked to me like I was a girl because I played with dolls. What the fuck are we doing now with our kids? This is just one of the many examples, obviously, but this is what we're doing. We are creating narratives wherein certain behaviors must mean certain things.
Absolutely, I concur completely. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think that was my point. I just didn't make it as elegantly as you did. Sorry about that.
Sorry, then I should have let you talk. My bad.
No. You answer. You said what I wanted to say more eloquent with. And I hate that word. Eloquently.
Thank you. Well, the thing is, dysphoria really is a problem, and one of my pet peeves. Well, some of you might already know this. One of my pet peeves is gender dysphoria, and we are creating it. It's not something people. I mean, there's a difference between a transgender and someone with gender dysphoria. And the difference isn't big, but there is a small difference. Exactly. But we're creating gender dysphoria, and some people are being forced because of this gender dysphoria to go into transgenderism. There's a reason that out of all the demographics out there, transgenders are the highest risk of committing suicide. We're talking more than 40%. No one mentions that. No one talks about that.
No, exactly.
I'm sorry. This is my passion, I guess.
Well, like mine is archaeology, and I can and biology as well, and I can get the same. Yeah. Just to finish off this, if you guys want to add any more, I could continue, but I was hoping to change something to get something more light-hearted. Again, another SJS. No, guys, you Sargon and all of you, we should stop using the term. This is, I think, more correct. The term social justice warriors.
I'm trolling you from inside your chat from the live stream. I'm like meta trolling you right now.
I'm not even
you
watching.
are awesome.
Dad, I'm so sorry. I've been ignoring you.
You misogynistic.
Yeah, I took a shower, ate some cereal, took care of the kids, fixed some dinner.
We should stop. We should promote. I just want you guys to promote the term social dominance warriors, SDWs, because justice. It wasn't coined by me. I can't remember what Cognitive Thoughts Brothers alias is, but he was the first one to coin that phrase, social dominance warriors, because they are not interested in justice anymore, and we should sort of push that forward. That's my opinion. If you guys want to do it,
listen, I've never met a social justice warrior who is a dom. I'm just
they want to dominate.
No. They want to dominate the political discourse. I was just kind of making a bit of a joke. Here's the funny thing.
I know.
I have come across, and I have had, at least one or two very hardline, ardent feminist subs, and it's the funniest thing because they go to the deepest, sometimes the most depraved level outside of the truly, truly, truly broken. They go to levels that I'm uncomfortable with, like things they want. It's like they want you to hit him with a belt. You hit him with a belt. They want you to hit him harder. They want you to strangle them. What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh, I get it. I get it. You're doing your absolute best to try and live out like your fantasy of being oppressed while mixing it with your sexuality. You can leave my apartment now.
But don't you? I mean, I might be wrong on this, and I might be just setting myself up for a joke. I don't know. But don't social justice warriors don't really have sex? I mean,
no, they
that's
do.
the main reason why they are social justice warriors.
No, here's the thing. Half of it is very sad. The other half of it is exceptionally. Well, I'm going to say 75 to 80% of it doesn't happen or is very sad. The other remaining portions are just kind of dark. because these are people who are empty inside. Let's be honest. True social justice warriors. I mean, like what? AIDS, Skrillex, Carl the Cock, Big Red, Anita Sarkeesian. Well, she's a scam artist, so she probably.
Yeah, she's a scam artist.
Yeah, no, honestly, I mean, I have a weird feeling like if Anita went to the gym for a few weeks and then decided she wanted to just play, I might have a fun time. But my point here is that social justice warriors in general, these are people who don't want to win. Because if they ever won, guess what they would have left? Nothing but power. They would have power. They couldn't rely on their notions of being oppressed and being on you know, having to suck hind tit every time. They would end up being in power and they wouldn't know what to do with it. It's a bit like kind of, well, like I see Donald Trump coming into power now. No idea. He just wanted to win. No real plan for what he was going to do. So is he draining the swamp? Of course not. He's not good. But he's appointing CEOs of Goldman Sachs. But I don't want to get on the Trump point. My point is that, like, no, they're not dominance warriors. They're not actually out for dominance. They probably think they are. But if they ever attained any actual levels of serious power, it would terrify them and they would fuck it up. And we've already seen this happen. Every single time they get to speak to power, that they get a platform which puts them out in front of not just the niche audiences, which are like, you go, girl, you're so brave. You're so brave, girl. No, once they get outside of those audiences, they're terrified and they fuck up every single time. Because it's not what they're after. They're not about gaining power or changing the world. They're about complaining about things that are easy to complain about because more often than not, they're not real.
I just call them grievance warriors. Yeah. Because that's all they want. It's a grievance. They want to fight some grievance. They don't want it to be solved by any means. Yeah. But they want to fight it.
Exactly. I'm not sure. I mean, yes, you make a lot of sense. And at one point, I want to believe that you are right. Because it does make a lot of sense. But then Sweden.
Yeah, Sweden, those who have used, exploited, and abused the social justice narratives to come into power and remain sustained by those who are grievance mongers are allowed to do so. Here's the thing you need to remember. Activists and politicians are two wildly different breeds.
Yeah, that is true.
Activists need the grievance. Politicians just need the grievance to get them into power. You can tell this by looking at Merkel recently. Merkel has even been kind of doing a few very soft shoe 180s on things, yeah? Why? Because she realizes that her trying to play to a base that actually does not represent the actual voice of the country she's trying to lead has actually led her to ruin. Short-term gains? Hey, sure, look at that. Look how fast you rose to power. Look at how you were able to retain it in a short amount of time. But as soon as the shit actually hits the fan, are you ready to deal with it with the rhetoric that you built up as your little castle?
Yeah, you actually make a lot of sense there.
I have a counter argument against that, Nick, and I'll give you 4 examples where the social dominance warriors have actually achieved their means. Okay, first off, divorce.
Now listen,
if a man,
I know where you're going with this. Here's the thing: this is what,
sentencing, alimony, and funding for
yes, I know.
For the homeless.
This is what brought us all to the table that we're sitting at now.
Exactly. Absolutely. So yes,
social justice warriors, and this is coming from a formerly professional activist. Social justice warriors were not the ones who brought this into power.
It's the dominance warriors that did.
No, it's capitulating politicians who saw an opening with a demographic who wanted very specific things in very specific areas that nobody could oppose or no one would pay attention to in the meantime. That would help them not only get elected, but would help them actually shape a narrative. In the meantime, they could play all the normal games politicians play. But now all of those chickens are coming home to roost.
Yes, I don't fault you. Absolutely, I agree 100% with you. Yes, exactly.
Look, you started out trying to disagree, and now you agree 100%.
No, I disagree on the point that they have achieved actual change.
They have.
Not
it's been awful.
Yes.
They've
Oh yes. Yes,
Well-
not the screaming trickly puffs of the SJWs.
Listen, the
No,
very fact,
it's
the
from
very fact,
behind the
Castro,
It's-
the very fact,
Carlos.
the very,
Carlos, call me
Castro,
Carlos.
Castro, Joe, fucking like,
Carlos.
cowboy hat, Carlos.
Carlos.
The very fact that we've gotten to a point now when it comes to arguments over divorce and child custody to where we've gone from single mothers are the best for children and we need to support single moms at all times. And oh my God, like she can't support herself because she gave herself up to the patriarchy. Now she needs 75% of his paycheck to live in his house. The fact that we've gone from that to people legitimately, when I air my grievances about the system, being what I've been through, and they say, oh, well, that's all just patriarchy. That's patriarchy in the works. Like, really? Is that why the Violence Against Women's Act, the National Organization of Women, the League of Women Voters, that all of those serve to create the circumstances that we're in, all while ostensibly fighting against patriarchy? The fact that we've come full circle on those issues. And I'm going to say this honestly, too. This is a happy thing. Friends of mine recently who've been going through divorce and separation have been finding their own judges here in the States when the wife or the girlfriend or the baby mama decides she's going to try and do the bullshit restraining order. He threatened me and my baby. When they try that shit and they get to trial, the judges now are well aware enough that there is both political and public attention on these issues to the point where, like, well, you're going to need to show me how. Okay, we're going to come back and we're going to have another hearing. You're going to show me how again. Okay, this is interesting. You told me the same story twice now in two different ways. You're going to need to be straight with me, otherwise there will be consequences. I've had friends who've gone through this recently, and they've come to me and said, I hate to say it, but thank you for going what you went through and being public about it, because things seem to be changing. They are changing. The politics.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Exactly. The politics and the power are starting to catch up to the reality. Politics. Fuck me. I have to quote Andrew fucking Breitbart. Okay, fine.
I forgive you.
Andrew Breitbart said that politics exists downstream from culture. Culture is catching on now, because here's the other thing, and maybe I think there was a part that he left out, actually. I'm going to improve upon Andrew Breitbart right now. Politics exists downstream from culture. Culture exists downstream from power. Power exists downstream from politics. This is how the cycle works. So when politics lead to a form of power which, initiate a series of policies and laws and legislation which affect the population, the demographics, in very specific ways which are harmful to some and excessively beneficial to the others, those which are genuinely harmed, their grievances will go beyond the petty grievances which brought those who may be in power into power. And as part of that, change will come when no one is looking, because those in power realize that they're the first to realize, hey, the winds are changing. Holy shit. The activists, they're fucking clueless. They just think that as long as I keep thumping my chest and stomping my feet upon the terra, and as long as my sign is readable enough on Tumblr, that I'm going to win. But they're wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so what we see now is family court judges in the United States actually taking gender-neutral stances. And we see Angela Merkel, who is snatching German flags away from other people on camera, is now saying that, like, yeah, Islamism is a problem for Germany. By the way, please don't vote my party out of power. This is how it works. Yeah. Andrew Breitbart was half. Yes, it's not a stream cycle. It's basically you go to a water park. It's one of those lazy rivers. You just go around in a tube.
Yes, good analogy. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. What you said, absolutely, no argument. And I'll even reinforce your point of view.
And if you want, you can even take that clip and put it up as your own video.
Oh no, man, no. I don't take my clip. I don't take other people's. I quote other people. I'm a scientist, man. I'm a scientist.
So am I.
Yeah. Our courts here in Portugal are still I really don't know how and why, because we have adopted a lot of the EU directives, but the divorce courts are still kind of gender neutral. Some females, some go to the female, some go to the male. And the last year, I don't know why, we had a stream. At least 7 mothers killed their children, and 2 of them tried to also killed themselves, but 2 of them tried and failed, and they are still pending the court decision of what will happen to them.
Well, that's
the
sick thing, though. I mean, if you look at
that goes back to the sentencing gap of most Western court systems, where men get higher sentences for the same crime as females. It's like the wage gap, but only real. That you guys know. I'm not. It's. I won't even bring that up because
here in the US, like if you're a woman, you can kill your children and get
nothing.
Yeah, that's not just in the US, unfortunately. And this is what I wanted to say a moment ago. If we look at children being killed by their parents, it's 9 out of 10 times the mother that kills the kid, not the father. But fathers are getting the name that they are the ones that do it. But reality shows something else.
It may be because again the poverty that Portugal is under. Basically, the feminist viewpoint of that is still hasn't been actually adopted. So, I expect the women will at least get maybe 2 years less than a man in sentencing. Still less, but I expect those 2 mothers that killed their kids. Fuck, one of them was horrific. She had 3 kids. She threw them into the ocean. She also threw herself. They recovered the body of only the oldest child because it was bigger. I explained to my wife. I told my wife, and my wife was also shocked. She said, "That woman should be fucking drowned as well." And it's my wife speaking. She's more moderate than I am in many aspects. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And the court judging her now, because our court systems take fucking a hell of a lot of the time. But I expect her to go to jail a minimum at least 6 to 10 years. If it was a man, he'd get 10 to 15 years, which is that statistics are sort of okay. They're sort of not that far off from 10 to 15 years maximum. So it's less than, say, what happens in the quote-unquote Western world. Australia, New Zealand, England, America, Canada, and I'll just say those, even though I am an Anglo-Saxon culturally. And I'll go back to culture in the future, Nick. I want to get you guys again to talk about culture, because culture, what you said about culture, I agree, but culture, what you said, culture is encompassing all you said. You said culture was a subset of something. No, culture is the whole binding thing that of the argument you put forth.
What I said was I was quoting Andrew Breitbart.
But Andrew Breitbart is wrong because culture.
Breitbart is wrong because he's short-sighted. Andrew Breitbart said that politics exists downstream from culture. Culture exists downstream. No, I'm sorry. Politics exists downstream from culture. Culture exists downstream from power.
Now, I say
power over cultural narratives. Power over cultural narratives is shaped both in the halls of government and more frequently in the pages of literature. And in the all right, fine, we're gonna do this. All right, fine. You know, here's the thing: is that culture is shaped by power because
I argue that culture englobes all of what
you're failing to recognize what power really is. Power is power is not just those who sit
I know what power is. I know at least the 5 levels of power that sociologists use.
Yeah, well, then you need to study the 48 laws of power that Robert Greene has outlined, and then read the Prince a couple times, and then
That's yes. I'm
No,
not arguing. I'm not disagreeing. But yeah,
power shapes culture.
no, culture shapes power. Actually,
Yeah,
No.
culture shapes power.
Sorry, no.
Yeah, it
Yes,
does.
then- okay,
Because
yes.
if power gets too strong and it goes away too far from culture, culture will overthrow power.
Yes,
then
I really have to do. I really have
then-
to do, and I promise you, I will have to do a standalone video, which I've done one on race.
Okay,
and
no,
on
if that's okay.
archaeological.
No, here's the thing: culture shapes politics. Politics shape power. Power then shapes culture.
Yeah, but slowly. If it goes too fast, if
it goes too fast, you end up with Adolf Hitler.
which will then be thrown away by power. And
As
culture.
an archaeologist, you guys don't really understand what culture is.
As a political operative who's used the same games that have been refined and distilled over generations and decades and even centuries, I will say you don't understand what politics is.
But
Or power.
politics is inside culture. I will
Listen,
talk
politics is the art of manipulating culture, right? Politics is the art of manipulating culture in pursuit of power. Power is the art of manipulating culture in pursuit of politics. Culture is the art of manipulating politics in pursuit of power.
Politics is the expression of power, Nick.
Thank you, thank you, Carl.
You've come back from your book, have you?
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, politics is the expression of power.
Power.
Politics is the expression of power. Power is the expression. Well, no, politics is the.
I think it's too much.
Politics is the mechanism of power.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The expression.
Politics is the mechanism of power in the face of politics. Politics is the expression of culture in the face of power. Power is the expression of politics in the face of culture.
Yeah, but culture
no fault. No fault in that, Nick, and also Carl.
Manipulated by each one of these is manipulated by the other. This is how it works.
As an archaeologist, I see an even bigger picture. Culture, as its basic definition, is everything done by. I'll just reduce it to the humans. Modern human homo does, right? That's it. I'll just reduce it to that because it can go forward to our primates have culture. The parrots of I can't remember the fucking name of those parrots in New Zealand. That they were really smart. They have culture. They is culture.
No. The one woman here dropped out. Good job. For being such a domineering cunt.
oh, blame game. Did we already start with the blame game? Welcome back, Mace.
Hey, sorry, I was muted. I'm like talking and I'm like, shut the hell up, and nobody can hear me.
No.
Yeah.
I'm being all rude. I had a point which I forgot now because you two drunk people are arguing with each other, and I had a very cogent and salient point, which I totally forgot.
I'm no
42. It must have been 42.
Exactly. Always, isn't it?
Always.
Sorry, continue. I'll listen and try to catch up.
Yeah, continue your sophistry. She'll pick up when she needs to.
Oh.
Well, can I jump in
because there, buddy.
I'd like to bring in a little bit of history and the whole concept of politics and culture. Welcome back, Carlos.
Yeah.
You dropped as well.
Welcome back to your own stream. We're happy to have you. We're happy to have you.
Twitter hates me. No, Google hates me.
Anyway, may I bring a little bit of insight from?
Can I just finish my argument, my point, and I'll leave you.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. It's your stream.
Did you guys hear me when I said the definition of culture? A black culture.
Yeah, you're breaking up again, mate. Where are you?
American
Breaking up.
Oh, yeah. Hurry for Portugal, right?
And Carlos,
Yeah. Let's make this a nationalist thing, just because it'd be funny.
you need to put some more coal on your machine, mate. The steam is running out.
Honestly, just you know what, just allow Spain to take another 2.5 meters of the border, and they'll give you the broadband you need.
I think Portugal has broadband, don't they?
No, he needs more. Clearly.
And anyway, I am going to take the time to then do my little talk.
Okay, I'm gonna turn my audio
Well,
off.
before you go, I'm just going to head off. So thanks for inviting me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Sorry to see you go then, Sargon. Be
That's
good,
all right.
mate.
It's gone midnight.
Hey,
so-
wait. Any final points?
No, not really. Just
Oh yeah, fucking. You know,
drink less, maybe. That might be an idea.
Nice.
Just some advice.
Just throwing it out there.
No, you guys talk. I'm fine. It's
But yeah, it's quite late.
mate,
Sunday.
I have reviews to do. Carlos, we're gonna keep going forever. You want to just wrap this up?
No,
I
don't
just
quit on
wanna
my account. You guys carry on.
No,
But,
mine
I'll
too.
speak to you later.
Like, I have things to do as well, and I have deadlines. Unlike
Not in
some,
that state.
unlike some famous fuckers around here, I have actual deadlines.
Who's famous? Come on, I've got like 300 subscribers. I'm not
That was
famous.
Sargon. He's just hit
Oh,
500,000
right. But
subscribers.
he already went. I mean, he's
I
gone.
Yeah.
I was feeling really good about like, hey, I just hit 10,000 subscribers, and I'm like, oh, I get it, yeah, right.
Says,
Yeah, I don't want to hear about the
Fine,
10,000
fine.
subscriber problems.
No, but
are you now complaining that you only have 10,000 subscribers?
only 10,000? That's why I'm on
Fuck
my last.
that! I've got 300, and I'm grateful.
Actually, well, I mean, you know what? I'll watch some of your videos and say, what the fuck? He keeps dropping out. This is his stream.
Yeah,
This is
weird,
like
isn't
Bill
it?
Maher has to take a piss every 20 minutes on real time.
Welcome back, Carlos. You are breaking up again.
Okay,
No, but seriously
I'm
though,
sorry. Honestly, I'm sorry. Oh God.
feel free to check out my vids though, because I am always interested in criticism.
I'm pretty good
Madeline
at
is
that.
your secret sub. He's like the person you sub to that you don't tell anybody else you sub to, because otherwise they'll just flood his channel with shit. And they'll troll you, and it's annoying. So you just watch him. And just start
I'm on my
I know it
last
sounds
class.
bad, but that's true.
Sorry, Anna. Yeah, I'm on my last glass of wine. That's all I got left. So,
Well, I did want to make a point about culture, politics, and power. And I wanted to use history for that. I'm not sure if Carlos is back already, if Carlos wants to go.
if he's not really back, I see his picture, but
Yeah.
he could. He's not really here.
Carlos, you there, mate? 3, 2, 1. Fuck it. Okay.
My stream. I'm going to start off giving the last word to Mod Wayne here, and then after that, Base Mama, and then after that. And he's gone again.
Oh, poor Carlos. Anyway, culture, power, and politics. If we look at, early, late medieval Germanic cultures like the Vikings, the Normans, they had a political structure, they had a power structure, but it was all based in culture. So if a political leader would move too far away from what the culture deemed acceptable, people would not follow him. But what we see now, yes, I see it's empty. But what we see now is that you're not helping. What we see now is that we have politicians who can push their narrative and their seriously not helping.
Stay fucking focused, man. God damn it.
What we see now is that we have politicians
I've never done this
that
before.
that move back and forth. For God's sake. You're doing it on purpose, aren't you? What we're seeing now, though, what we're seeing in the modern world, is that we have politicians who do keep pushing certain narratives.
Sorry.
This is not helpful.
Guys,
Hope
we.
it's a lot more fun.
Oh God, I don't know. Google hates me. I'm gonna end it here.
Oh, I was just trying to make my point.
He's been trying to make his point for 5 minutes and Nick's been fucking with him the whole time.
I wasn't even here for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, we will. Anyway, so if we look at, I'm not even going to look at the screen now. If we look at the past, we're talking Middle Ages. There you have culture, power, and politics, and all three of them were somewhat imbalanced. But culture was the strong point. Unfortunately, what we see now is that we have politicians who use and abuse culture to push their narrative. But when they get called out for their lies, for example, if we look at Hillary Clinton and the way she suddenly is all in favor of gay marriage, even though she has been a strong opponent of it, people don't call her out on her bullshit. So our culture has turned away from standing up for itself, if that makes sense.
I think you need to check your privilege, man.
Oh no, I've checked my privilege.
Yeah, but look at me in the eye.
That's a nice beanie you got on there.
It's a fucking hand-knitted fucking... I got this in an oncology ward.
That is awesome. Before I drop out,
Oh, drop out of your own stream, yeah?
Again,
Google hates me, man. Google hates me. I touched on actual points of Black lives and shit. So, yeah.
No, he's got a point about culture, fucking feeding it. Here's the thing, and this is what I've learned. And like when I say like when I say that I've read like Green and there's a problem with a bottle of wine.
it's empty.
whiskey.
And a bunch of other people too. They're always like, oh, like I read Alinsky, man. I know all about how to make a revolution. It's like, no, you fucking don't. This is the problem. Alinsky wasn't writing just to your political persuasion. I mean, that was the one he was of, but he wasn't writing a guidebook for you. He was writing a handbook for everyone.
Yeah.
And this is the trick, is that this is why I say that, like, so power affects culture as it can, because it relies on culture to give it the political capital in order to carry out its will. Politics is the art of manipulating culture. Power is the art of using politics as a tool to do that. Culture is the driving force behind them both. Politics is the means, power is the end, culture is the engine. Culture is a malleable and controllable thing. You can, over time, affect cultural ethoses and decisions.
Yeah.
And fuck this hipster bullshit. I'm just going to say this honestly as me.
Yeah, but no, you're right.
This is what I studied to do for a living. And this is what I did for a living until I got so sick of it that at the end of it, I noticed I was a rather overweight alcoholic, because it took a lot to live with myself. When you realize that you are manipulating populations, especially vulnerable populations, in order to advance the narratives and desires and wills and whims of your clients. That is what politics really is.
Yes.
Politics isn't the politician out front. It's all those cunts behind there formulating the message.
Yes.
That's my point. Now, as part of that, rules for radicals, for instance, was a means by which those who were not already possessed of power could affect change in the ways that they desired. And now that goes in all kinds of different directions. But this is the trick of it all. It's all a big cycle, and it's all ostensibly, it's supposed to be all feeding into a better future and tomorrow for all of us, unfortunately, because so many people become politically apathetic because of all the noise that they encounter. And they become culturally apathetic these days, especially because of all the noise they encounter.
Yes,
But
and
they don't
lies
give
the
a fuck
problem.
what power. They don't give a fuck what power does, means, or is doing. Which is why my country ends up with Donald Trump as president. I promise you, a good, at least probably
It's
like
a bit worse.
No. It was probably about 7 to This is just spitballing off the top of my head. I'm not Nate Silver here, but I'm gonna guess that between 7 and 14% of those who actually went out and voted for Trump did so because they thought it would be funny, and it will be funny. Oh, it will be funny. Like people, lots of people have kind of largely just sort of accepted the notion that nothing's going to work. Society is doomed. Structures and power structures and governments, they're fucking hopeless institutions that cannot be managed correctly. So why the fuck not have a good time in the meantime, right? So that being the case, hey, you had your monologue. I'm having mine. We're closing the stream out.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, our fair lady here gets the last word, as far as I'm concerned, because Carlos, I hijacked your stream. But that being the case, people are apathetic to a point where those of power and those of politics see the culture as just this ball of clay that they can mold in any which way they want, and they're not entirely inaccurate. People have lost their sense of things. People have lost their ability to see nuance and question everything they've heard because it's just too fucking trying. It takes too much time and effort, and honestly, it does. You go insane and turn into some fucking cunt YouTuber.
Okay, so I want to respond to that, though. I really do.
No, wait. No,
I'll wait, but I do want to respond to that.
You respond to that.
I'll give you 5 minutes.
I've got things to go for, but I mean, this is the point: is it's all one cycle that feeds itself. It's the lazy river at your waterfall, except it's got these drains that only suck down the best of us. Nothing of worth or merit remains because of the cycles that we've allowed to continue. We've allowed the loudest of us to set the tone for those of us with the biggest voices to speak to, and they speak only to the voices of those amongst us who are the loudest, and those who are the loudest are the fringe idiots out there. And then once that political phase gives way into power, those have to actually deal with the structures of power which are in place, which to one extent or another, ideologies themselves, liberal and conservative, have been battling against because they don't want rigid ideology governing the structures of their power, but that's just the way it's worked out. So those who graduate from politics, utilizing culture as their vehicle, they get to the point where they have no choice but to play the same games they always have.
Yeah.
That's why you get Barack Obama into Donald Trump. But once that fails, all of a sudden the culture revolts and the politics change, and guess what happens after that? The same
thing. Yeah. But this is the thing that I wanted to say. This is how I want to respond. Because I still think that the basis of all of this is culture. The problem is, however, that our society has grown so big that there isn't one or two dominant cultures anymore. So the whole divide and conquer narrative actually works in favor of the politics now because there is no strong cultural counterweight.
Point out a part where it hasn't. Dear based mama, can you save us from this shit?
I don't really think I can save you, to be honest. But what I will do is completely hijack your shit and take it in a whole other direction.
Yeah, the stream. Save the stream. Leave us be. Let us float down river and freeze like Jack in the Titanic.
I don't think Trump will be as bad as everybody's making him out to be. Because I don't know, I'm an independent. I don't really I just want shit to not be fucked up. That's like all I want. I don't think he's going to be that bad because he's not really like a social issue president. He's more focused on like economics and trying to get that back into shape. So I'm not really worried about, I'm not like, he's going to gas all the gays or any of that shit because that's retardation. That's just autistic screeching from idiots. I do think that, I don't know, if he sticks to like focusing on fixing the economy and jobs, then he'll be fine. I think if he stays out of social issues, he'll be all right. If he starts to engage in them, then it's just going to go straight to shit in a big hurry. But a small, maybe masochistic part of me kind of wants him to just for the laughs. But then that'll be like social upheaval at this point.
We get along so well.
I just I'm caught between wanting things to get better and just wanting to watch the world burn. I don't really know how I feel about it. Veg was asking me if you had heard about the kebab place in Poland that, well, I wouldn't say got trashed, but it very rightly was held. Okay. They trashed the joint of a guy that stabbed a 21-year-old because he was throwing fireworks on New Year's Eve.
Killed him.
Before the guys from the restaurant came out and
they
killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And they trashed
but
two
here's
joints.
the thing. Yeah, but here's the thing that I noticed. It was just drawing a difference between protesting rioters in the U.S. and protesting rioters in Poland. That it was absolutely targeted and focused in that one space, and they tried very hard not to cause any more destruction anywhere else. They weren't setting cars on fire. There weren't brawls in the street. There's none of that shit. They trashed that dude's joint, went down the road and trashed the other one, and that was it. They were done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a little bit more to it. There was a bit of a riot, and the police and the rioters did stand against each other, but the focus was against each other. The focus wasn't to create mayhem for other people.
Exactly, which I was like, oh my God, you can actually protest. You can trash some shit, but you don't have to destroy the entire town that you live in and bitch because your town's been destroyed. But I thought it was, as far as riots go, because I don't think things are going to get better in Europe before they get a whole lot worse. And then they'll probably start to turn around because that's kind of the way these things go. So I think they'll probably get to a point where they have to push back, but the people have to push back because the government's just not going to catch up on time. But I think that they have set a precedent for this to keep, to contain it, not to let it get out of control. And I think it's important because it sets the tone for rebellion in the future. So that if, it does get out of control and things happen, they can actually say, you fucked up, don't do that. I don't know. The Polish they're having a lot more influence on Europe than I would have probably ever expected.
No, they don't, unfortunately.
Well, they're definitely having an influence on the way people are perceiving Europe. I don't know. I think the smart thing to do from here for us, if we want to actually help and curb this problem, would be to spend more time talking to those Eastern European states.
I agree with that.
Are standing between, because they're caught in the middle, So I would, I'd like to see that happen. God, everybody blows this fucking Mike Pence shit out of fucking proportion.
Oh, but it's so great. Ridiculous. No, it's such a great video, though.
I haven't seen that one. Then.
I honestly think this would be a great way to this would be the rolling end credits of the stream. Just me. I found it last night.
I want to do that. How do you do that, man? I have the video, but I can't make the sound appear. I don't know how to. I'm a noob.
No, you use the YouTube fucking app.
Yeah, but which one?
The one on the fucking sidebar, man.
It doesn't give sound, though. I mean, I've tried it. It doesn't bring the sound with it.
It used to.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think...
Not magic like he is.
I mean, I always have to ask Raven to come along because he knows how to do that shit.
Exactly.
Because I can't get it to work.
Try and invite him in.
Oh, God. Where is he?
I think he's busy now. He's working on something with Skeptor, if I'm not mistaken.
Most probably, yeah.
Well, then get him now. Tell him to take a break so that he can work on something else.
Oh, guys, I'll give you 2 more minutes. I have to go to... I have to end this. I've been longer than I usually do.
Oh, well, then just end it. It's your stream.
But I'm a... How do I say it? I'm a good person.
Lovely, wonderful based mama. Would you just put a broken kind of link so people can figure it out in the chat so they can find it? And this will be the credit music.
I'll put that.
I was gonna say I'm actually on my tablet, so
there we go. All right, end this shit so I can get back to my work.
Nick, if you are here between the 7th and 10th of July, in Portugal, close to me, I will get you drunk on awesome craft beer. I'll pay for the beer, for the food. You just have to pay the accommodation. I can even get you a good deal.
I'll just start flirting with Portuguese girls on Twitter.
Mate, I'm not getting involved there. That's what I promise
Sounding plan.
and offer you. The northern Portuguese are Celtic, more Celtic than the southern Portuguese, the yellow skins. They are cool, but they're a bit more weird. I'm not bigoted.
The very fact that there are Celtic Portuguese is kind of weird to me, but okay.
I am Celtic Portuguese, man.
Yeah, but you're also from fucking Australia.
No, I immigrated to Australia.
Mate. You're from fucking Australia, mate. Don't fucking try and...
We go through this every time.
I can do the South African accent if you want, but I cannot. But I can also do the WOG accent, right? I lived there. I lived in Australia. But yeah, if you ever
motorwind, the noise coming out of your shit. Like I'm trying to listen to Bass Mama here, and like you're the only one that comes out.
Yeah.
My bad.
He's doing his heebie-jeebies.
He's like wrapping his Christmas presents because like his family doesn't get in the country until like fucking 2.5 weeks after Christmas happens.
Oh,
they had a problem with that black Santa's helper something or what?
No. It was the problem that like his country, like time sort of stopped for a while. Like fuck, this happened again. God damn it.
It's just like that time.
It's the Arts Beer Fest in Caminha, which is about 70 kilometers from where I live. It's close. It's almost my neighbors. It is walking distance, man. It is. Actually, it is, yeah.
Takes a couple of days, but it's fine. I'm an American.
No,
dude.
it takes about...
kilometers mean? It's 1,000 meters. And I'm like, a meter is like
40
miles.
It's about 40 miles from where I live, right?
I'm not walking.
I know miles. I know miles. I know inches. I know gallons.
I'm not walking
pounds. I know pounds.
He knows all the systems of measurement.
All right.
I just don't know Fahrenheit. I'm sorry. That's the only imperial measurement
man.
that I don't know Fahrenheit, but I know all others. God, we're gonna end it now. I can't believe I had. Again, I am absolutely honored. I had Sargon, I had Nick, I had Bass Mama.
You had Modwayne.
And a Modwayne, of course. I was just going to say.
You don't matter. Shut up.
I am always honored. You guys should know that I am always honored by my guests.
Stop being honored, man. Stop being honored. It was when I
No.
It was when I started regarding bigger YouTubers as like feckless cunts. What do you do? Oh, fine. I suppose I'll let you on my channel, Kraut. Although then again, I helped Kraut build his channel.
I invited Kraut. He said he was going to come. I will not fault him. I like Kraut.
No, he's probably worried he'd accidentally face reveal again.
Oh, I don't care what I don't even know his fucking name.
Did you fucking catch that? Like, what was it?
I did. Yeah, I did catch his. I saw the streams and everything. I don't know his fucking name. That's how fucking out of it I am. I don't care. I like the content.
Well, yeah, but his real name, and I'm gonna dox Kraut here.
Christian
it's
or something.
August Manischewitz.
Oh god, that was fun. I only regret that. I only regret that this stream we didn't cover Azalea Banks, but I'll do another one on her specifically. Yeah.
Don't invite me to that one.
I won't. No.
Care.
No, I won't.
I don't
honestly.
fucking care. I mean, is Cecilia Banks naked on my floor like the one last night was? No. So.
No. Do you know? She had her own? She had her account banned from Twitter, man. Jesus.
Makes sense.
Nuts,
I'm a little bit harder right now.
it's a quote unquote celebrity actually having her account banned on Twitter. She's
not the first.
No,
didn't get what's his name? The guy that runs Twitter. Didn't he get banned for a period of time?
But that was
Yeah, I think
wasn't
somebody
me.
hacked his account. That was.
Yeah, that wasn't me. I hope to do that one day. But anyway, Azealia Banks, she insulted the French, the Brazilians, basically the whole world, and it took that to get her. Oh God, I love the reactions in Portugal.
Carlos,
What?
you turn and talk about Azealia Banks. Just say goodnight, everyone.
Okay, good night, everyone. I am again honored by my guests, and Sargon Carl Benjamin left. Fuck him. He owes me. No, he doesn't. I want to have him again. Anyway, cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate.